What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this Friday, and I've got a star-studded lineup of amazing, legendary people. I'm going to start off with my co-host Zach Rector. How you doing, Zach?
Doing fantastic. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to this call.
Absolutely, one of my favorite people in crypto, Chris with Fruition Productions, and Maya. How are you guys today?
Doing amazing. It's
Good.
amazing day.
Love it. My brother from another mother, Johnny Crypto. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thank you. Happy to be here amongst all these beautiful stars.
The legendary, one of my new family members, Aquaman. How you doing, sir?
I am good, brother. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And one of our favorite sisters of all time, Molly Elmore. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jay. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you in a major way. Guys, we have Linda P. Jones. We've got Abs. We've got Echo and Jake Claver that will be coming in throughout the stream. We're going to go ahead and get this thing started. So what I want to do, guys, is first of all, how's everybody doing after watching this incredible documentary? How you guys been doing? Did everybody get a chance to see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's just start with Chris and Maya. Your thoughts on the overall success of Rig from the start, the premiere. You guys have traveled from the 12th all the way through the 19th. How do you guys feel about the premiere? What kind of feedback have you been getting actually about the premiere and the name change, which I think is amazing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's super fun to see the XRP army out on the road in all of these different cities. I think the weird phenomenon we had was, when we started in Scottsdale, and it's all about Coach JV. And then, we were in Houston. That's where Jimmy's crowd was. It's all about Jimmy. By Atlanta, people kind of started recognizing Maya and I. It's like, oh, yeah, you're like the people that did the thing. And then by LA, it was totally insane. The energy sort of shifted. So, I mean, obviously the film is about you guys, the experts in the crypto field, but it is cool to share in the limelight in terms of the energy of the audience. And of course, every city we traveled to, the price of XRP went up 10 cents. Not because of us, but I told Maya, we got to keep traveling forever. And then yesterday, the cumulative effort or energy or whatever happened, we released the documentary digitally, easily doubling, tripling, quadrupling the audience that had seen it from the screening tour in a single day. And all of a sudden we get a huge price spike. So, maybe there's something, it's like, knock on wood, you start believing kind of weird, superstitious stuff. Like the more people that see it, the higher the price goes. I don't know, but it is an exciting time and divine timing. I couldn't have been happier about the timing of coming out the same day. Freaking Gary Gensler quits or says he's going to quit on Trump's inauguration. So I'm so happy.
And Jay, can I say a word?
Absolutely.
What was great was also not only just at the premiere. I know that Abs came up to us along with I think he brought his dad with him, and we also got a few other comments since the launch of the documentary. But we have people coming to us saying, thanks so much for giving us a voice. Thank you for helping me be able to give something to my parents and family members and friends, to where now they understand where I'm coming from. They understand me and this community. So I think that's good, because that was the whole point. We really wanted to be able to have it reach a broader audience, but to hear that, people's family members and friends understand it, that, they connect the dots and they understand it just enough to ask the questions, is very fulfilling. It's very nice.
Yeah, before I actually go over to Zach, who's going to ask the next question, I just like to say, first of all, thank you for all you guys that are here today. We have almost actually right at 1,000 people live right now. Absolutely incredible.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you guys what, me personally sitting there, I know the first time that we saw here in Las Vegas at the American Film Festival, I was just in awe. My wife was trying to lean over and make comments. I couldn't even, pay attention. I was just so focused. There was so much emotion, from being irritated to being excited to just being happy to see all the things that were coming out. Oops, we got Jake Claver here in the back. So I want to ask you guys, and then the second time I watched it, I was just as excited. I mean, just in awe. Sometimes they say you notice things the second time you see it. So, I might watch a third or fourth time just because it's so freaking amazing. I just want to ask Chris and Maya really quick before Zach asks the next question. Were you guys in awe of your own film? Like, what were your personal feelings, not just as the people who created it, but people who are XRP holders and fans of this crypto community?
Chris,
Well,
sorry.
I mean, I think it's hard to be objective because I look at it and I see things that nobody sees. I'm like, oh,
Right,
there's a
right.
weird thing in the corner over there. And, I'm trying to like perfect it into its own being. But at some point, it kind of grows its own legs, if you were. Like it becomes its own entity outside of you. It just is, it's this thing. It exists now. And other than some very minor little modifications I'm going to make, just to continue to make sure it's like airtight and there's nothing left out for question. Nothing changing in the edit, but stuff that nobody here would even notice, like just me being a perfectionist. I think it is cool to kind of see, you never know, what the community's reaction is going to be, and to feel the audience in all of those cities booing and cheering and clapping and getting excited about the fact that we can all breathe now that we're in this new age. But I also think that we shouldn't be complacent either. I think it's cool to see the film, but now our biggest job is to keep the pressure on and keep the pressure to make sure we get a great new SEC chairman, and that Trump appoints the right people that are going to do right by the crypto industry, and that our voices are heard, because we don't want to go backwards. And look at the opportunity here, just on the promise of Gary quitting and the promise of legislation. What that's going to do in ETFs and all this other stuff is going to come in. And 25 is just going to be absolutely bananas. And so I think that we just need to make sure that we don't get complacent. So what to do with that if you get triggered by this documentary, that energy should be channeled into making sure right now, while Trump's building his cabinet, that we get the right appointees. I think that's the number one thing we got to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maya, anything you want to add to that? Or Maya's already done. So Zach, it's on you.
Yeah, I think, to the point of timing, I just remember talking with Maya leading up to this after the SEC filed their appeal. It was just like, oh, crap, the case is still going to be going on when we're going to be dropping this documentary, right? And XRP is probably still going to be hanging out at 50 cents. And so the timing of this couldn't have been better, the dominoes that are dropping. And so I wanted to ask you, Chris, and then I wanted to open it up for the panel too, on kind of what we can do to basically, pitch this documentary as to why the average person should watch it, people that aren't even in crypto. Because I think that it was great to take XRP out of the title, and now we can sell that story of corruption. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. But Chris, I guess I wanted to ask you, are you going to be able to now edit to that final screening, that Gary Gensler announced his resignation on November 21st, and then hopefully maybe update us on XRP price too? I feel like we might need to add a couple screens there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about that. I feel like the end of Gary Gensler sort of is the end of the story. Like we got rid of him. I don't want to put prices in the documentary, but we put it a little bit in there with like the 2017 spike, and then the ramifications of the lawsuit dropping, which wiped away $15 billion from XRP holders in December of 2020. But I do see the value in as changing a little bit. I mean, look, the reality is, you got to, at some point, the story ends and we got to move on to the next story, right? So it's like I could just slowly continue to edit that thing forever. Oh, this is happening, that's happening. But I think the story really is of the overreach of the Securities and Exchange Commission. That is the story. We want to show that overreach. We want to show that corruption, that revolving door of Washington and that particular agency. And now that that's sort of ending, hopefully with a good new commissioner going in place, and hopefully ultimately legislation being passed that helps give clarity to the crypto markets, I could see like maybe one or two little moments being added in there.
Yeah. I guess let's go across the panel then, and I want to get everybody's thoughts on kind of what we can do to get this story out to the masses. Are we just going to raid Elon Musk's tweets? Are we going to tweet Donald Trump every day? All of the above. We got to max engage here. Maybe I'll start with Johnny. What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, first of all, it's great to be here with all you guys. Love being here. You guys are awesome. I think it starts with, obviously we can do those kinds of things, tweeting, but the reality is we have a lot of friends and families and connections, and I think sharing that, especially Thanksgiving's coming up. You couldn't have done it at a better time, Chris.
Man.
Right? This is something to share with your family member. You're going to probably end up talking about politics and other stuff anyway. Maybe you can change the subject and say, hey, maybe there is a little corruption out there. Let me show you where it is. And then, but there certainly, I think word of mouth is going to be very, very powerful as well. So that's, I think, another thing we can do, because obviously we can all share via our social media channels, and we will all do that. That's a no-brainer. But to me, I think taking it to the next step, that's certainly one thing we can do.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah. Aquaman.
You know, I think we got to just really push the message that like you guys need to tap into this because this space is extremely serious. You know, the sentiment across the masses, I feel like they just kind of, you know, they think crypto is still play money. They think that this is not as serious as we all know it to be. You know what I mean? So really getting them to tap in to understand like, yo, like this is a real deal here. Like you got the government involved. You know what I mean? Like tap in now. You know what I mean? Understand this stuff now. It could be life changing as well. You know what I mean? So there's just, you know, I love the name change. Shout out to Chris, too, for this being his first film. I was so blown away afterwards because, you know, I got goosebumps the entire time. And, you know, after the film, I go up to Chris and I was like, how many films have you done? And he was like, this was my first one. And I'm like, bro, you're lying. But, you know, he's not. Shout out to Chris. First film, you know, super epic.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm glad to have my little snippet in it. You feel me?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I like that approach too. I feel like XRPs are, you know, are a Trojan horse, right? The documentary here on broader corruption is what's going to resonate with audience that doesn't even know about crypto, doesn't even know what the SEC is for that matter. And so to be able to reach them, I think that story of corruption, the little guy exposing and making things right with our government and their overreach. And so, yeah, I agree 100%. Molly, did you want to comment?
Sure. So I'm a believer that most of the federal government needs to go and that it's basically an organized crime syndicate. I do believe that Trump is going to basically dismantle the corporation and reinstall or recreate the republic. And if anyone kind of is aware of what I'm talking about, this documentary is a perfect example of why that needs to happen and that the corporation government was just full of cronyism and acting like the mob, where like if you were connected, you got favors, but there was a cost to it. Now, the Keithgate story is pretty complicated. So, you know, if you've been following it for years like I have, and it is so validating, too, to see this story like in a film, well told as kind of a narrative that makes sense. Because years ago when we would talk about this was one of the first topics like I got skewered on Twitter about, was making an infographic about ETHgate, because people were like, it's a conspiracy theory. You have no sauce. You're just making it all up. Even though Jimmy and Valid Capital team had put together this timeline years ago, but people didn't really want to believe it because like it's upsetting to find out that the government that you thought was sort of on your side is actually full of criminals who are doing things for their own personal benefit. So I think that when people question whether or not there is corruption in the government and whether or not, you know, Elon Musk and his Doge efforts needs to kind of clean house, this documentary is like the perfect example of one situation, you know, one sector of the economy and of the world that was so manipulated and nobody knew about it unless you kind of really dug in the weeds and were like a DAI or Kimes type person, or Jimmy who kind of went and looked for those articles. So Chris and Maya, thank you so much for making this a story that's easy to tell, because up until this, when I would try to explain ETHgate to people, they would look at me like, first of all, are you making this up? Or two, you know, show me some evidence. Like how can you back up this claim that you have? And here we have the proof in rigged from the start.
Yeah,
I love it. Well said.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, like when we interviewed John Deaton the first time, I had no freaking clue what he was talking about, like absolutely zero. You know, I'm like he was dropping all this information, all these timelines, and I called my editor like a day later, and I was like, "This is what the thing is about. This is what it's about. This is the core of the corruption." And then like I spent probably, you know, when people watch the film, if they've seen the film, and if not, there's like this big crime board. Like John Deaton didn't design that like I did. And like I had to whiteboard that thing out over and over and over and over until I found like the most economical way to lay out the cast of characters and make, because it's like kind of like a Game of Thrones episode. There's like all these people, you got to introduce them, you know, they come in and do one thing and then disappear, which is why maybe some people hopefully watch it more than once. But yeah, I mean, to Molly's point, it is complicated to tell the story. We kept struggling, like, is this a chronological story? Do we just tell everything that happened chronological? But then you kind of need information to go back. So it's actually more like a spiral. The design of the documentary is more like a spiral. We bring you in and bring you deeper and deeper and down until Steven kind of brings us all the way home with the corruption within the Ethereum Foundation. So challenging nonetheless to kind of demystify it, make it into a narrative that's interesting. And good look, crypto is a really hard topic. Controversial thing to make interesting. Okay.
Right.
It's ephemeral. Where is it? Like if this was a documentary about ranchers in Texas, I could make beautiful sunrises and hair on a mane of a horse galloping in slow motion. But this is
That's funny.
Getting it out of crypto is like a bunch of people in a room talking about stuff. It's like super hard to make it interesting. So it was a challenge in that way.
If you wanted me to ride on a horse, I could have done that, Chris. You tell me.
Zach.
To Molly's point, though, about the government, I feel like this documentary might be the documentary to expose the SEC. And to Molly's point, we need to kind of just go down the list. It's like, here's the documentary on the EPA. Here's the documentary on the Department of this, Department of that.
Yeah.
And maybe these documentaries will help people understand why we're going to come in and we want to, rein this thing back in such a massive way, right? So I think that that's a great point, Molly. I think that this can serve as that documentary for the SEC, and it's just one head of a larger bureaucracy beast that needs to be, reined back in. So, Echo, how you doing, brother? Any thoughts on how we can get this one out to the masses?
I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much, 6AJ. Thank you very much, Zach, Chris, and Maya, of course. Everybody, thank you all very much for being here. And sorry for being late. Better late than never. Just
That's
like
right.
XRP, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Love it.
I love the fact, that how to get the information out, right? And how I was thinking about it for the past few days, right? And I'm not going to lie to you. For the past couple of weeks, I have been connected with some of the most, unbelievable people within the space, right? That I never even thought held XRP, but they're really connected, right? And we're over here brainstorming not only to try to how to get the information out, but be innovative with the technology itself, right? And so I figured that, whenever how I'm evolving, at least for me, is that I'm actually looking on building on the network itself, right? And trying to, XRP being a payment solution, why were they trying to stop this type of technology, right? And if we can take that and evolve it and bring it to the masses of like why this documentary is so groundbreaking, why is there reviews at 99%, right? Why is Chris the very first documentary he's ever put out? It's just a straight banger, right? Then people will understand. Not only is this thing so innovative, but we can also build on it. Right. And you can build anything you want. And, I've gotten into the space of learning how to build and speaking with developers every single day. So it's like, just putting the information out there and nonstop, like grinding it out. If we had to tag Elon Musk and Donald Trump every single day, hey, we got to do what we have to do.
That's right.
Eventually, it's going to get to them. Right. Not saying that it hasn't already. Right. Rumors to be held. Right. But for the most part, I think we're doing a great job. And, I can't wait to see like this whole entire transition that we're going into 2025.
Yeah, I love it. I think before I get into the next question, what I want to do is just kind of give my something that Aquaman said. A lot of people have been looking at this like funny money. It's when we turn off the cameras, Zach, myself, Johnny Crypto, all you guys that have channels, Echo, we have to face the real world. We go into the real world where we have family and friends. My I've got a daughter who's getting married to one of the biggest NFL guys right now in the league. And, when I'm talking to these guys and I'm talking to celebrity friends, they just don't get it. They don't get it. And sometimes it's felt really lonely trying to talk about, crypto and with all the controversy, people not really wanting to hear about it. And I remember when I saw Chris and Maya in Vegas, I said, my God, you guys are freaking geniuses. The fact that this all worked out, and I don't want to get too like spiritual, but, this is really God sent because the way that it lined up, with Trump being elected, with Gary resigning. I mean, if this thing would have came out 6 months ago, people would have been talking crap and, you just, you're doing this, you're doing that. But just the timing of it is so surreal. I got goosebumps talking about it right now. And so I kind of walk out my house now with my chest up. And it's so crazy because I don't know if you guys have been around since 2021 when the last bull run was. I mean, I've got celebrities. I got people trying to come to my house. I've got people trying to fly in all of a sudden because Bitcoin's almost hitting. It's so crazy. This might be the greatest time I've ever experienced in crypto as a whole. Just talk about that if you guys don't mind. Just a surreal feeling of just knowing what you hold. I know that's something that me and Echo talk about all the time. Jimmy Val, I think, might have started the term as well. But just how you feel right now in this moment. And again, shouts out to the 5,000 people that are watching. I'll start with Zach.
Yeah, I think Sorry, what was the question again?
So just how you feel right now, whether it's just vindication, whether it's just whatever it is, I feel so excited just knowing that it's almost without saying it. Everyone that in my world knows, God, he was right. And it's just something about that makes you feel amazing.
Yeah, sorry, I read a comment and it distracted me.
Right.
Right now, the masses are coming back around, and people that I got into XRP are now telling their friends and family about XRP. So, I mean, I guess the ripple effects are really taking place right now. I just talked with a guy here earlier today, and he was speaking about how he just got into XRP through Robinhood. And we think and we laugh about that. A lot of us OGs in crypto, we don't use Robinhood. But for new people and for bringing the masses in, you get listed back on Robinhood. It's just so easy now for people that hear about it to just press that one button and get in. And so, yeah, I think that this is our time to really spread this awareness between getting listed back on exchanges, the case, everything that's coming together right now, to your point, is coinciding perfectly with the release of this documentary. And I hope that, we can take this documentary all the way to the very top, like you guys said. And with XRP, I think it's already leading the show. So it's kind of really the best marketing that we're going to get is from the price. So let's just hope that keeps happening.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My first crypto was Doge on Robinhood. It was so crazy. I mean, it's like Robin. People don't realize that it's such a easy platform for people to kind of get into that. Maybe people are trying to mess with stocks and they're kind of familiar with it. But welcome, Linda P. Jones. I don't know. Did you bring in 5,000 people with you, Linda? Because also we just shot past 5,000. I'm just trying to figure that out right now.
Well, you did it all on your own, but I'm happy to be here with you all.
Awesome. Chris, same question to you, brother. Just the surreal moment of, I know you and Molly have a phenomenal story, and I feel so blessed that you guys shared your personal story with me. It makes me love you guys even more because of, it hasn't been an easy road. It's been peaks and valleys, and you guys keep pushing ahead. And, so just talk about, what this moment and everything means to you right now in crypto.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of folks were like, you got to bring it out before the election, do that. And then, 11 months ago, when we started the process, we really started putting everything together like around this time, like actually about a year ago. We hadn't shot anything yet, but we were starting to think about the documentary. At that time, there was no clear end to this case. There was no clear anything where we were going. It was just like, this is going to go on forever. We didn't even have the Torres ruling yet. It was like, we were kind of like, it was taking a while for us to get to like, where are we going to be at? And to be honest, like I wanted to stay out of the way of the election because it's a lot of noise and there's a lot of things in media channels going on. And also we just needed the extra time. Like the screening tour, the version of the film shown for the premieres was made that Monday. And I was grinding 12 hours a day with my editor to finish the documentary. So we couldn't finish it even a week earlier. And even now, even the folks in LA saw a slightly more updated version. And even now, the people online are seeing the slightly updated version. And even now, I'm going with my sound editor on Sunday to finish out the mixing so that I can update the version silently to like, put a cap on it. And to maybe to Zach's point, add a little bit of Gary quitting and some little moments to kind of like capstone it a bit better, because we had to kind of add a positive ending. So it feels incredible to see the product finished as its own life force out in the universe, and certainly can't take credit for any price action, but divine time. That's all I have to say. Divine timing. Like I couldn't finish it any earlier. I finished as fast as we could. It came out in the perfect time. The premieres were running, 10 cents a day. And then now it's out. And as the more of us see it, the more people start to realize it. I see a lot of comments. And first of all, thank you to anybody who purchased this. Just understand, once again, Maya and I self-financed this documentary. We took all of the risk, and it was not cheap to make. Okay. Like we burned a big part of our bag. And in reality, that documentary becomes more expensive by the moment because we burned all XRP to make the documentary when it was 52 cents. So imagine, if you want to do calculations in today's dollar, that was probably $1 million documentary, unfortunately.
Wow.
But that's not what the real dollars are. But you know what I mean? Like in theory, if we would have held the bag and done nothing. But I'm grateful that we were able to get the story out there and, the community's reaction. And I saw one that was really valuable. I've seen a lot that are valuable, but somebody said, hey, my mom watched this and she finally understands this. And this documentary is not about crypto. It's about government corruption. And I think that's part of why we changed the name, is to resonate with that audience, that next audience. You know, everybody in crypto should be watching this, but then it's our job, citizen journalism, right? Decentralized democracy. Send it to your cousin, your brother, your aunt, your friend, that random person you talk to at the bar. Show them those things. Jimmy was like, I sold 2 more copies at the airport. Like, you know, just random we see in the universe, right? You got to do that because like that's how we make change happen, how things go on. And it's mostly about, you know, making sure that this never happens again, that we put a light on it, we hold our government accountable, and that we move into a new era of transparency. And that's what we need to do. So I'm grateful that it's kind of become more important than just the documentary. It's become kind of a movement of like, let's go hold our government transparent, and we're going to shine a light on other things, you know, after this, you know, so we're not going to stop. And I think that folks should hold their government accountable and continue to just share. And that's ultimately there. And I hear a fair amount of like, wow, no Netflix. I'm like, guys, like you can't just go into Netflix and be like, hey, put this on Netflix.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. Trust me.
Right.
Like, try, you know, like you can't just get it in there. And why not on Amazon? Why not on iTunes? We will early next year. But there's a community of people that are willing, that know about it. And Apple and Amazon aren't going to do any marketing for us. So why should I share 50% of every dollar with Jeff Bezos when he's going to do absolutely nothing to promote the film? It would be different if there was some marketing attached to that. So we're trying to protect the project. There's a certain amount of people that are willing to watch it like that. And I know that there's a certain amount of people will only be willing to watch it on iTunes, and we'll do that. It'll all naturally grow out, center out, you know, crypto out to our non-crypto friends. And a lot of people will FOMO into crypto, and then all of your channels, everybody here will become incredibly valuable. You know, how do I get my wallet? How do I build my exit strategy on Merlin? And like, what do I do? Like, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff becomes important. Everybody here serves their part to educate that audience. And hopefully when someone watches the documentary, they're like, I really liked Molly's content, and they go find Molly's channel. Or, you know what, like what Linda was saying about asset management makes a lot of sense. Like, I really want to hope that they see each of you and they'll resonate with one of your channels, you know, and then they'll just go figure out what they need to know, because, you know, the next 1 million people, 5 million people, 10 million people are going to FOMO into XRP and other crypto assets. And they're going to need to know how not to get wrecked either. Cause you know how the market is. There's an up and there's a down. There's a life cycle.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Zach go into the next question, since this became a question of itself. We're gonna go to Johnny Crypto, but I just want to make a comment on what you said, Chris. You know, I have been a part of other films. I have invested in other films as an entrepreneur, and to be a part of some of those intimate contacts, because I put you guys on the phone with a couple of my celebrity friends, a director buddy of mine, and I just thought that it was one of those things that you introduce somebody and they'll make a phone call, but there's freaking gatekeepers, man. When I started hearing the things that you guys had to go through, putting you guys on the phone with celebrity friends of mine, putting you on the phone with one of my best buddies who I'm doing a movie with right now, and just to see all the gatekeepers and crap y'all got to go through, I'm like, I had no idea, man. I really didn't know that you guys had to go through that much stuff just to try to get onto a platform. So I got much respect for you guys.
Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, big time. So Johnny Crypto, if you don't mind, just when the camera's off, brother, as a person, you turn around, just how you feeling about what's happening right now. Yeah, go from there.
Well, let me just say this. I don't think Chris realizes how much him and Maya have changed the landscape of the world, because this movie was so powerful. I have it on good word that Gary Gensler personally resigned on the day that this movie came out, because he was not scared of this movie. So kudos to you, Chris. You changed the whole landscape. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I love it.
Gary was so scared. But on a serious note, you know, to me, the movie was so powerful. What was great about it is, and I'm almost kind of embarrassed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. But, you know, we live this stuff. We do it every day. We talk about this stuff every day on the air and on Good Morning Crypto, everything, right? But there were some things when I got to sit down and see the whole movie, it was like, holy cow. There were I had no clue, right? There were a lot of things that you didn't realize how deep the corruption went and how far it went, right? All the way over the seas to China. And I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much. But the point is, you know, the way you guys, Chris, you and I tied the whole thing together, the story, the board, it was just so revealing of what was really going on. And the bottom line is what you see is it's always just a good old buddy system, right? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And then these guys just say, oh, hey, let's figure out how to do this. And you can kind of see how they plotted the whole thing And then they went and got Hinman to kind of say, hey, let me clear the path for you so you can go do this. But then the poor Ripple got in the way with the money. And so the thing's amazing, just totally amazing. And there were bits and pieces there, had no clue. So, Chris, it was awesome. It was eye-opening the way you pulled it all together, be able to put the whole story so you can literally easily follow it and see from beginning to end how deep and how bad it went. And so, you know, I think the community will be forever thankful to you for putting it together. You've revealed a lot of things. And hopefully, I know you've been talking about it, hopefully 47 gets to see it, because if he does, he'll know who to pick and not to pick for the next SEC chairman.
By the way, guys, 6,200 people here live right now watching, and I see several questions. My apologies for not being able to post all the questions on the screen, but I do see many people asking, where can you get your own digital copy of Rigged from the Start? And I just posted it here. And thank you guys so much, Crypto Tales and many others that are sharing the link in the chat. It's so important for us to get this out. We'll go ahead and move on to Aquaman. Thank you guys all for being here. I think you're muted, Aquaman.
Oh, okay, my bad. So it's been one surreal moment after another for me. You know, when I originally went to go film with these guys for the doc, I was only really like 8 months into the game. Like my knowledge was, you know, bare minimum. And in the very beginning, I was treating crypto like pretty much like stocks, right? And then, you know, about a year ago, I had a grand awakening to decentralized finance, which is basically the heartbeat of crypto, and really understanding where all the money is going and understanding that, like, yo, we're going to be able to earn passive income and yield with these digital assets. And I literally graduated from the, you know, calling it crypto to now calling it a digital asset, because it's like, yo, these are not liabilities. These are assets. They're going to be paying us passive income. You know what I mean? So it's just like, there's a whole nother world to wrap your mind around. And like, to be this far, to see these prices starting to ignite, to see Bitcoin almost, you know, it possibly already hit 100K. I don't know. Right. But like, this is just absolutely surreal for me. And I'm having a good time, you know, and to be honest with you, I'm just so thankful that I'm aligned with all of you guys, and I'm aligned with this space. And like, you know, God, you know, I just had to show up, and God was like, you know, I'm going to put you in the right places. And, you know, here I am. Shout out to Chris, shout out to Maya for really putting this together, because this is only going to get bigger. This docuseries is only going to get bigger. Can you imagine when like the bull market really kicks off, and people, especially probably next week too, when everyone is, you know, together for the holiday? Imagine if the market is still pumping, everyone's going to be, you know, there's going to be that one family member, you know, educating and talking about like, look at my portfolio, look at Bitcoin, this, hey, you should tap into this docuseries. So it's just, it's mad surreal, you know, and don't forget to, you know, have an exit plan, because this is getting real now, guys. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I love it. I love what you just said. You know, we have a president-elect and things go crazy. We got Gary Gensler announced when he's going to retire and things goes crazy. What happens when things get dismissed or a new chairman gets selected? I mean, it just, I got goose. Like, I don't know if like black people are supposed to get goosebumps, but I got goosebumps. That's a joke. I'm sorry, guys. You guys, let's keep it going. That's a joke, guys. I'm sorry. I'm always joking. Molly, go ahead.
I think that the real price action is going to come from mainstream utility adoption competing with store of value. So that's one of the things that I've been making this case that XRP is not a stock. A lot of times stocks, you know, go up and down in value because of media hype. So you can pretty easily rig a system if you just can play the media game well. And XRP is not supposed to be that, in my view, that it's an asset that can be used to trade and move value very, very quickly. And then it can also be used to store value like gold or real estate. And when those interests compete with each other, it kicks off what's called the virtuous cycle. And it's like a cyclone of competing effects. And that is real, and it's not hype, and it's not manufactured based on, you know, marketing. And so when we start to see those 500 banks who have those ID numbers we saw about this week start to really use this, and sovereign nations are using XRP to trade kind of commodities globally, then we're going to see like the price is going to go up, and countries who have to store their sovereign wealth fund in some kind of asset will be like, well, the dollar's going out. U.S. treasuries are not what they used to be. So XRP is going up in value and people are using it. Why not store our value there? And that pulls money out of circulating supply, XRP out of circulating supply. And that's where I think we're going to see the astronomical values that if you post that on Twitter, people are going to call you all sorts of names. But that's, to me, when the real story gets interesting, aside from these exciting, and I'm not trying to diminish the news stuff, but that's hype, right? Like, this is an asset that has real practical applications and real practical uses. And that's why many of us, including me, are very excited about it.
Well, I'm looking forward to next Tuesday with you and Jimmy and some of your counterparts that have actually helped create the valuation, which shocked the crypto community. And so next Tuesday, you guys are going to be on recapping that as well. I'm so stinking excited about that. Echo, go ahead if you don't mind. Same question.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say first and foremost, like, everything is timing, right? And I actually had a good conversation with Chris about this. Like, everything is time. The whole universe is aligning right now. It couldn't have came at a better time. And, although I know that he did change the name for the better of the film itself, I still call it XRP Unleashed because he helped XRP Unleashed. I know all of our bags are really happy. We are up, looking at our cell phones every single day and like, holy crap, right? And this is just the beginning of all of it, right? It's a magical moment that we're going through. I've been able to tap into like my spiritual side, especially most recently, past few months, right? And learning how like the universe like really shifts, right? And the big philosophy was that, or not philosophy, but the quote by JP Morgan Chase was, millionaires don't trade astrologies, billionaires do. And as we left, Pluto left Capricorn and went into the age of Aquarius, it's like, holy crap, it's really happening right now as we speak. So again, the universe is aligning with us, right? This whole entire thing is spiritual. No matter how you see it, I'm meeting amazing people. Shout out to Bree Teresti, right? Because she's an OG holder of the whole entire XRP community for many years. I got connected with her, and it's just like seeing like all this progression happen and meeting everybody within the community. It's just more so just a whole spiritual awakening that's happening more so than ever. And we couldn't have had a better time. And again, Chris, Maya, you guys did a fabulous job on this documentary. You guys nailed it again. And, I can't wait till the next one.
That's awesome. Love it. And Linda, I know you just came in. Everyone's excited to hear from you. We talked about just what you thought so far. What we covered is what you thought about the documentary, and just as a person in general, just to be a part of this phenomenal opportunity, life-changing opportunity. Your thoughts?
I'm so honored to be a part of this and humbled. And it's just an incredible project that Fruition Productions, Maya and Chris, you've done an amazing job. And all of you here and the people that appeared in the film just really did an amazing job of highlighting XRP, the things that don't often get said on social media, that don't get shown. Bitcoin tends to overshadow so much. And they tried to make XRP the banker's coin and the bad one and all of this. And I was just in a 2-hour appointment with a traditional Wall Street person who knows nothing about XRP, just knew about Bitcoin and Ethereum, was very confused about what's going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I spent, 2 hours educating him about what's going on and talking about the movie, what happened with the movie, how XRP's price has been held down, how we're still early in crypto, how these are early days and the price has been held down like a ball underwater that once you let go, it's ready to skyrocket, which is what I believe is happening now. And how Bitcoin is reminding me a lot of AOL back in the day where we had the internet stocks. We had AOL was the company that was way ahead, that was, making a lot of money for people, that was, seemed to have all the market share, that seemed to have the clear runway ahead, that was going to take it all and be the winner. And, it ended up being the Napster. It ended up being the one that didn't win. It ended up that we've seen this movie before, so to speak. And I just was, reminiscing with him about some of those memories in those days and kind of comparing those days to today, which is also what I did in my book. But it's just, to me, so exciting because we still are so early, and we've had the advantage of this negativity, this unfortunate thing with the SEC, but that helped us because we were able to accumulate so much more XRP during these last 3 years than I could have ever imagined if it had just gone up in 2021 or 2022. It's just exciting to have the opportunities still ahead of us, to have like a fresh start, to see a new administration come in and recognize an American company, a U.S. company, to know that U.S. companies are going to get preference, that they're going to be important, that this is going to mean something in the future. And we're going to have a completely different playing field going forward. So I couldn't be more excited.
You know, I love what you just said before we get over to Maya and then over to Zach for the next question. The fact that you see, you know, a lot of people don't talk about that, Linda, the blessing in disguised in the corruption that's been going on with XRP. I say it all the time on my show. I said, my God, could you imagine if this hadn't happened? We might be talking about an asset that's 10 or 15 bucks that most people feel like they can't get a big bag and they're focusing more on memes and other things. But I just believe it's been a phenomenal blessing. That's what I've been really pitching to my friends and family. And yeah, I love that statement. That's awesome. Maya?
Yeah, not only is it the age of Aquarius, or I say the age of information, knowledge, you know, this is a great opportunity for so many people to become knowledgeable in this new, you know, digital age. And I, like Linda was saying, it gave people the opportunity to get in at a low price. Even though it was rough, it was a struggle holding on and just truly understanding the reasoning. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing because people are wanting to know the truth. You know, they're seeking the knowledge, and just like back in the .com, you know, era, this is another great opportunity for many people to become truly generationally wealthy and financially free. So I just look forward to, you know, just the little guy, the small guy, finally having a chance and changing their life, you know. So
Yeah. And you know, before
Yep.
Zach's going to ask the next question, but I just have to say to Zach, to all you guys that are here, man, you guys killed it, man. I'm so proud to know you guys. I think 85% to 90% of the people in the documentary I interviewed on my channel, and I just felt so honored when I was looking at the film to, you know, see how you guys perform. You guys are just star-studded, man, and I'm in really awe of you guys' performance, and feel really blessed to be able to call you guys friends. Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, I was the same. I was giddy the whole time. I was proud of everybody involved in the film. I wanted to throw in this question though, because I think that this was, you know, one of the bigger receipts that we dropped in the film, or that you guys dropped, was, you know, Charles basically, you know, with his communications, acknowledging that they knew how much influence, you know, China really had over Vitalik. And so my question to you guys is when this documentary gets out, what do you think the reaction over in the ETH camp, in particular, Vitalik, you know, how is he going to react to this film? If his abilities to silence you guys is anything like his dance moves, I don't think that you have to worry. I don't think you need to worry about your personal security, Chris and Maya.
That was such a good clip.
What's going to be the reaction from Vitalik, you think?
There's an ETH camp. I wasn't aware that there was anybody in the Ethereum community. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a dance camp.
There's definitely. I mean, I won't retract this statement because you know there's a strong Bitcoin community. It's clear, right? As a XRP army, there's obviously there, but I've always found it interesting. I mean, I'm sure there are Ethereum developers. There were a lot of folks that were building real utility and interesting things. And I think that project will never go away because it's like it has so much utility and it does so many cool things. But obviously, when Stephen was sharing this stuff, you know, it makes sense because the Chinese really wanted to try to control the next monetary system. And it goes beyond just Web3, blockchain. It goes into the BRICS nations and trying to have a different, you know, global reserve currency. A lot of the new Silk Road mandates, you know, providing loans into Africa and other places. You can look, it goes on and on and on. The Chinese definitely had a very forward-looking way of like trying to front run the new financial system, as Jimmy says in that section, Follow the Money, in the documentary. But when I saw that stuff, it didn't surprise me at all. You know, it was them moving as quickly as they could. They saw a new technology running. They were really the only country in the world mass producing Bitcoin miners, ASIC miners, mass producing back when Ethereum was in proof of work, Ethereum miners. And so it made sense for them to try, you know, Bitcoin is decentralized, you know, so to speak. And so there's no real entity to go after, but Ethereum was kind of one of the first, like it had a foundation, you know, and Ripple was sort of the American version, which was OpenCoin before that. Right. And so I when I saw that, I was like, okay, it makes sense. Like they're trying to pick a winner. The Chinese are basically saying, okay, we're going to try to pick this winner and create this foundation and build these utility tokens on top of the network. And I don't necessarily have an anti-Chinese stance. I think it's more just like they are just trying to get ahead of the new, environment. So when Stephen was showing that stuff, it was amazing to see. In Charles' own words, Charles' own asked me anything. He's like, hey, yeah, I introduced these guys to my Chinese counterparts that helped me with my BitShares deal, networked over and then helped them all get the financing necessary to get the Ethereum Foundation to mainnet launch in the 2014-15 timeline. So we didn't get into the blockchain stuff. I mean, there's a lot of folks that have done blockchain forensics out there. And there are folks in the community that say, most of the Ethereum that was mined was really mined into the top 25 wallets. That's a fact you can go look up somewhere else. And so, they knew that Ethereum wasn't decentralized. So at the core of the documentary, what matters is you got a politician claiming something. You got a company saying one thing they knew isn't true, in this case, the Ethereum Foundation. And the whole premise of their argument was Bitcoin and Ethereum are sufficiently decentralized. What does that term even mean? But okay, they're sufficiently decentralized, therefore they're not securities, when in fact the majority of those assets, of the Ethereum assets, were held by individuals or companies within the Ethereum network, and they needed to issue more, and they didn't do that. So either Bill Hinman knew that and lied in the public, or Bill Hinman didn't know that and the Ethereum Foundation lied to Bill Hinman. Either way, something bad has gone down.
So, Chris, there's a very large ETH podcast called Bankless.
There you
Oh,
go.
really?
I think if you guys were to, I don't listen to it anymore. I did when I first got into crypto early on, but I would listen to Bankless absolutely
Okay,
if you
cool.
guys were on
We
there.
will. Thank you.
Just open for that crowd.
Yeah.
No, can I comment for a second? I want to say first, I mean, I'm hoping that it actually brings, Cardano, ADA, and Ethereum people over to XRP a little bit more. But, first and foremost, what it really makes me think of is, a community is as strong as its weakest link, but also you got to be careful who, it just shows you got to be careful as a community who you idolize and put your faith and trust in. Just be a little more cautious. If you are doing the research, have, I guess, have concrete evidence and faith in the technology and such. But, sometimes it's not the best thing to always put your faith in a company or a, developer or a, kind of a, like Ethereum founders, kind of a thing. But anyways, go ahead, Molly.
One more thing before that, just want to add. I found it was very interesting that all of a sudden Charles Hoskinson is issuing apologies to the XRP army.
That part.
Bro, what's up with your timing there? Okay?
That part.
All of a sudden you're out there like, hey, I'm meeting with Brad and I'm going to the Mar-a-Lago and I'm suddenly buddy with everybody.
Well, look, you don't want to be, act like, sometimes I feel like I don't want to make a comment because I don't want to feel like I'm being non-supportive for people that want to support XRP, but it's just, he always seems like he has an agenda, and I've never seen someone like everything he does. I'm going to the airport now because I'm going to be an advisory person for the White House. I mean, he just keeps trying to sell us on stuff. And it's like, bro, it's just crazy. But go ahead, Zach, the next question.
No, I think that's why I put out that tweet, right? I said, Charles is talking about it. Brad just shows up. The interview's happening, So, I think there's a lot there. I guess I want to go around, though, and get other people's thoughts kind of on, kind of the reaction. I think that, some of the receipts that we dropped, I was waiting to see them. I couldn't wait to see them. And I was rather surprised by how big some of those pieces of evidence that we dropped were. So, Johnny, did you want to comment on that?
For me, one of the fascinating things was the whole Steve Nero piece and all the evidence that he had behind the scenes of what was going on and how they were really trying. The poor guy. I mean, having a black van coming to your house and throwing you with 14 FBI agents. I can't imagine. I don't wish that on anybody, not even my worst enemy, right? Yeah. And I just felt so bad for that guy, what he had to go through. And thank God he recorded everything, had all the evidence, and was able to eventually get out of there was another guy that he knew too much, and they were going to try to take him down. And it's so sad that you literally had this group of cronies that just really wanted to get rich off of this thing, and they had this plan, right? And they had to figure out how do we go and do this thing without it being called the security? And we saw through the movie how they rigged it. We saw how Hinman was basically told, yeah, go tell everyone in the world it's sufficiently decentralized. To this day, nobody in the world knows what the hell that means. But yeah, they got away with it, right? He got his 15 million bananas and he walked away, and Lubin got his money and he walked away, and they all got their money. It's a damn shame, you know. But for me, it was just telling in terms of, you know, kudos to Neroff for being able to have the evidence and to be able to really show what was going on behind the scenes as well. And, you know, if you're Vitalik, it's kind of sad. At the end of the day, here he is, right? The guy that's doing the development, and they put him as the face of the company because he was a yes man. I mean, that's the reason why he's there. We all know from the movie now that he was a puppet and his strings are being pulled by China. So, yeah, massive receipts that you dropped. Again, kudos to Chris and to all you guys for bringing that all together. And, you know, I don't know if you guys were in the studio or at the end of the show when DAI and Digital Perspectives were talking about all the research they were doing this and how they were worried about a black van coming and picking them up. So it was very, very interesting. But that to me was, you know, that was big. So thanks for sharing all that.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I think we could all see Stephen too, as he was telling his story, just how emotional he was about that and finally getting that opportunity. And he was the missing piece. Like I really think, I mean, we got the stars of the show right here, but the real ones were Jimmy and John putting together that timeline. But the missing piece was Stephen. And so he came through and the receipts were massive. Aquaman, you want to comment?
Yeah, you know, Steve's story just brought the intensity to the docuseries. It was like, I was like, yo, I didn't even realize. And then to see Vitalik speaking Mandarin, I'm like, oh, yeah. Holy Captain, bro. Like, this guy speaks Mandarin for sure. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that.
Jay, did you invite Joe Lubin to join this live stream tonight?
Joe, I sure didn't. Don't got his contact info. Go ahead.
Yeah, Molly, did you want to comment on that?
No, I'm just saying that there's some interesting characters in this sort of story. Joseph Lubin is one of them who I imagine is going to watch this, and to be a fly on the wall for that would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's obviously always the best to pull someone's own speech. Thanks very much for telling us. Hey, we were working with JP Morgan from the beginning. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for confirming everything we didn't know. And as Di says in the documentary, he likes to talk. He likes to talk a lot. And he's arrogant, you know, and he's like saying all this stuff. And we were able to find, you know, all the clips, and the community had already found those clips and curate them. You know, it's not like I'm doing some kind of weird mishmash, like, you know, editing his little words together. Like, these are full sentences this dude is like saying in public forums. Like, we've been working from the beginning with these. And I don't really want to say about this, only you got sued in Switzerland because you screwed over the original consensus folks. And that moment just swings by. But that was so telling that he formed another consensus in Switzerland, screwed over the people who held it, and sold it to JP Morgan. Meanwhile, Jamie Dimon's out there in the universe being like, crypto's bad. And then 15 executives show up to Brad Garlinghouse's office, and then they build an escrow 2 months later. What the freak? It's like so many things add up in my mind. It's just like, okay, this is just insane politics, them trying to, you know, get control of the crypto market. And I think, you know, my 2 cents, and this is conjecture now because I don't have like any more evidence other than the video of Brad saying, hey, 15 JP Morgan executives were there. But I read into the timing of the escrow, and the timing of the escrow is literally like a month later that they have that. I think that that was a hostile takeover, you know, point blank, that there was a hostile. I don't say it in the documentary because I don't have the evidence. I was very careful not to put that out there. But the way I interpret that, hostile takeover, you know, they're, okay, I'm going to try to require you, because JP Morgan, the evidence is there. They acquired Corium. They basically acquired Consensus. They sold Corium to acquire Consensus, and therefore control over some of the Ethereum's de facto third-party promoter. So I feel like they're trying to do the same thing with Ripple and didn't go. It didn't happen. Like, they were like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And JP Morgan was deep in with all the folks over on the Alibaba side way back when that thing IPO'd, and the China Hustle and all those companies came, you know, and IPO'd to drag money out of the United States, and they got busted for it. They were fined by the SEC $261 million, whatever it was, for hiring the nieces and nephews of Chinese dignitaries and Asia Pacific dignitaries. So to me, it's 1 + 1 is 2. Like the Chinese are trying to get their leverage over the world's largest bank, which is JP Morgan, or a public bank anyways. And then they were trying to control, front run the new financial system. And I know that's very dense to like get in the documentary, but it's my read of the situation.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, well, you guys did such a great job of providing source evidence, and like you said, their own clips. That is always the best. But then also the receipts that were provided by Steven too. It was nothing but facts and evidence, right? A lot of us, we helped tell the story and put some of these pieces together, but none of it was like opinion based at all. It was just directly facts and evidence handed on a platter by Joseph Lubin and others that were so dang arrogant, like DAI says, that they just spilled it all to us. And so I think that, you know, to your point that we talked about extending with follow-up content, like you said, some of these clips went by and it might just been a 10-second clip that said this, but that is a whole story in and of itself. And so I'm looking forward to expanding with further content down the road. We can put some of that on my channel and maybe
absolutely
some of these others too.
I'll put that on my channel. Go ahead, put that on my channel.
And,
absolutely.
Yeah, Echo, did you want to speak on kind of just the facts, the evidence, and the receipts that we dropped in this film?
I mean, it. You know, I love that you brought all the facts, Chris, Maya, and the whole entire community, right? Because it's something that we've all philosophized and conspiracized about for the longest time. And you know, Zach and I, we go toe to toe with the crypto bros over on TikTok, right? And he knows all about it when we're telling them that, like, yo, y'all rocking on the Ethereum ecosystem or on the Solana ecosystem, and you're over here saying that XRP is the centralized system. But when you really watch this film, you'll figure out who really is centralized, right? Who's really being controlled, who's really manipulating the system, who's really been rigging the system from the get-go, right? So all the evidence is out there, right? It's just the people are, if they're willing to watch it, right? Because again, you guys laid it out flat for everybody, so there's no excuses at that time and point. And you know, this is one reason why, you know, everybody's starting to say deuces, you know, in the SEC. Like, Chris, I'm gonna have to tell it to you again, bro. You did it, bro. Yeah.
One thing I'll say is I think that in society in general, we've lost high quality journalism. You know, we don't have high quality, high bar intellectual journalism. Mainstream media has basically become various flavors of entertainment. You know, it's like one will entertain another, you know, and they're just there to do sort of sensationalism. But the cold hard facts, like keeping a higher intellectual bar and showing the evidence and then trying to package that and explain it. That's why I think it's so important that Elon bought X, because we can get citizen journalism going on. You can fact check things like, hey, if somebody finds a fact that's not correct, fact check that thing, you know, like mark it out and let me know, let us know. I tried to have the highest bar possible and not allow anything to the documentary that would screw up everything else that we did, right? And I think that's the narrative that I'm going to run with moving forward for other future documentaries, that we try to be a highly intellectual, smart approach to citizen journalism, talking to the experts foremost in each field and providing the receipts. And even if there are some things that people have opinions about, we only put in what we can in terms of the receipts, and that's what we try to do. So I thought that's where we go.
Love it.
Yeah, I will say I don't recommend trying to make ETHgate content on TikTok. They don't take too kindly to it. But if you're pumping and shilling memes, then have at it. You'll do great and you'll go viral all day long. Linda P. Jones, I want to double up. I want to get your take on the receipts that we dropped, but I also want to make sure that I get this in. Selfishly, I just want to get this from you. Is your thoughts on the ETF war that's starting to develop too? So your thoughts on the receipts that we dropped in the film, but then also, you know, we talked about the utilities and the adoption that's coming. We just saw Wisdom Tree announce another ETF. And so I wanted to, I know you're clearly having these conversations with Wall Street veterans, you yourself being one. So I was hoping that I could get an answer from you on that as well.
Yeah, well, first I want to comment about just how great it is that the film documented the receipts in email format, details, you know, Steven's perspective. That was incredible. I do want to say that Congress has been aware of China's situation because I documented it in my book from 2020 that they knew Ethereum and Bitcoin were both Chinese controlled.
Wow.
In a congressional hearing. So I did put that in my 3 Steps to Quantum Wealth book. The other thing was we know from Brad Garlinghouse that there were 4 crypto miners in China that control Bitcoin.
Wow.
That was on the Anthony Pompliano interview that Anthony wouldn't let him say that. But Brad mentioned it, and then Anthony, totally covered over it. But Brad said there's 4, there's 4 mining companies in China that control Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And Anthony wouldn't let him go forward with that. So we have those 2 pieces of evidence in the record. But what you brought was, the Stephen Narioff, the detailed, the emails, the conversation, the finer detail points, I think were so important to see. And for the world to really understand and to have the receipts that here's the documentation behind, what Congress had in the record and how they knew, but they did know. So in terms of the ETFs, I think it's exciting to me to see the ETFs getting approved. I think what Brad told us, Brad Garlinghouse knows a lot of things, and he can't just come out and say these things, but he says them in a way, if you listen to what he says, he tells you. And what did he say recently? He said, remember, XRP used to be number 2 behind Bitcoin, right? Didn't he just say that recently? He said, remember, XRP used to be the 2nd largest by market cap, and we will be there again. He said that. And I think what he meant is that we're going to have all these ETFs. We're going to have massive more adoption. We're going to have, all the things that we know and have been studying, and you have all been reporting so well about XRP and its future and its promise and the technology and the superiority of the technology. To me, this whole story with JP Morgan was actually called Project North Star. Project North Star was to hinder XRP and to try to get Joseph Lubin to create Ethereum to be a technology that would be superior or as good as XRP or superior to XRP to try to take over what XRP and Ripple have created.
Wow.
And so that they would have that technology, they would own it at JP Morgan, they would be able to protect the banks. And all of that would continue on in their hands, which is probably why there were 15 JP Morgan bankers in the Ripple office trying to pressure them to sell or something like that is what I would gather by that. But it didn't happen, right? So this is, great that the documentary has detailed all of this, put the story together, told it in a way that people understand, has documented this for the future. There's so much depth here and there's so much behind this, but it just, they did a great job telling, all the story and showing all the finer points.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because Brad has been mentioning that frequently here of late, of XRP taking that 2 spot from Ethereum. And to your point, I'm glad that you brought up the 4 pools in China, because if I'm not mistaken, it was only 6 pools for Ethereum. So it was like 60% of the Bitcoin mining was being done by these 4 large mining pools in China. And then 6 large mining pools were doing, over 70% of the hash rate for Ethereum at the time as well, too. One of the best things I think that's happened to Bitcoin was when China banned the mining of it, because then the mining actually got a little bit more decentralized. A lot of those pools getting set up here in the United States. But great points that you brought up, Linda. Maya, did you want to comment on this as well, too? Just the receipts and the evidence that we were able to drop?
Yeah, I'll just say something quickly. Just, thanks to Stephen Narioff. Really, we couldn't have done it without him. I just love that every day it was something new. He's like, oh my goodness, I have to share something else. I found something else, or this is the only document that's hasn't ever been shown in public yet or anything, and he was just a lot of fun to get to know, and he's become, just a really amazing person and dear friend. He's just done so much, and I know I told you right after the New York premiere, Steven's sister did come up and, just said thank you, because it really did destroy his family. He really was an outcast and a black sheep for a long time. And so, and just even talking to Steven afterwards, as well as just through this process, he just couldn't stop but saying thank you for telling my story. So that's about it. Yeah, yeah.
Just say something really fast there. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did the interview with Steven. My first interview was 7 hours, 6.5 hours long. And then I watched all the footage and I'm like, okay, well, this is way too long winded. There's no way I can do this. So I'd go back to New York and I spent about 3 months working with Steven on how do we tell everything you just said compressed. Okay. So I re-interviewed him and he was able to, bring it down, make it much more succinct. Cause I think Steven's one of these like hyper threaded humans, meaning like he talks in like a big web and then at the end it all comes back together and you're like, whoa, that was a really complicated way to explain that, but that's amazing because he's so intelligent. And then I was bugging Steven for a long time. I'm like, give me the documents. Can you give me the documents? He's like, I'm working on it, Chris. I'm working on it. I'm like, I'm thinking, why is it taking him so long to send me stuff? Because in my mind, I had a checklist of the things that we show in the documentary. It was these text messages. It was this and that. There was like maybe 15 things or so. He's like, I finally got it together. He sends me this dossier of thousands of documents. I'm just like, what? He sends me the entire thing. And then there's a folder that says, Chris, start here. And it's like everything I asked for and then 50 other things. And he's like, the totality of all of this is the number of receipts Steven has. We haven't even seen like a whiff of the surface level. This guy has like everything going back in every direction. And that's how he beat the federal government. I mean, he beat the indictment, got it dropped, and even to his words, found. I mean, this is nefarious stuff. Found evidence. I'm saying these are Steven's words now. I'm using his words to me.
Right.
Found evidence of the deep state. Found evidence of fabricated evidence against him at the SEC.
Fabricated documents.
Fabricated document. I mean, this is freaking insanity.
That the government had.
No wonder why they threw this guy in the van because he knew too much about this. And so it was amazing that he had all that stuff. You can't fault him on anything. You can say, oh, well, Steven, this and that. Well, boom, here's a document. That's why it was important in the documentary why we showed. I think the Ethereum community specifically tried to discredit him. I mean, actually, Charles Hoskinson went out there. Steven had a minor part at the beginning of Ethereum. This guy has, and I put in the documentary, the receipt of the contract he signs with the law firm that helps establish the ICO on behalf of the Ethereum Foundation with the check on there. Steven Arioff, $10,000, signed it, rented the office buildings for the Ethereum Foundation. Vitalik Buterin living in his living room, him and Charles Hoskinson, arm shoulder to arm shoulder. I mean, come on, man. Like it's like he's got all the receipts. They were there together. This is what happened.
I would have added that visual of Steven and Vitalik, the arm around each other. That would have been a good little visual in there, Chris.
Yeah, that was exciting.
It is in there. It's in the documentary.
Okay.
There's 3 pictures of him in his house, the same house I interviewed.
Yeah. That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I remember when John Deaton first met with Steven and he was talking about all the receipts. He goes, he shed a little bit. He goes, man, this guy's got receipts. And so it was just validation that everything was on point. Before we move forward on to the next question, I want to first thank the over 9,160 people that are watching live, headed to 10,000. Also want you guys to do me a huge favor as I still see these questions coming in about where you can get your digital copy. It's at fruitionproductions.com. Also going to ask you guys to do me a huge personal favor and go over to Fruition Productions X page where you guys can get all the incredible information. You guys can tap in with Chris and Maya. Chris, just before we go into introducing some other people's X pages right here, I had one comment that people said because there's so much information and will there be a part 2?
So a couple things. I want to do a format like this, sort of. Like when you watch Game of Thrones, they have like an after show program. So I mentioned this to some folks
I love it
here, but I'm going to produce a few of these after show programs the goal is basically show a little bit of the film, have a Jimmy or a Steven or anyone here really there, kind of in groups. We have the whole Vahil family together in one group and then others like the Warrior Academy group folks together. and then kind of break down the scene, basically talk about it. And I'll put that out for free. Just put that as a YouTube video to describe it, and then also add it to the documentary on the website, as a little playlist that you can watch through and break it down.
Hey, Chris, you think you could get Lubin and Vitalik and Hinman to be one of those groups?
That's not gonna happen.
Now that would be interesting.
Especially after I drop our rap music video tomorrow. I don't think they're really gonna not like us. I have a little something we're dropping tomorrow night.
Okay.
Get ready to drop some truth bombs in rap format.
I love it.
You communicate different people, different styles of communication. So part 2 is not really part 2 of the XRP journey, and the part 2 is really part 2 of the monetary system, or really the central money printer of the monetary system. When we started this documentary, it started as a docu-series, but I got really good feedback that it was just too many topics. It's too much of a journey. Like the average financial education within the United States is lacking, and we spend a lot of time educating. That's why they come to your guys' channels. They have a lot of things to learn about. Actually, I felt bad because I kind of called Linda and Jake Clavers and I said, sorry, I kind of ended up, and Molly as well, actually. I ended up kind of editing you guys out because I had to pick a story. It was like too many things. But the next documentary we're working on, or will work on,
Money Disrupted.
Yeah. And that's about the Federal Reserve, its formation, its history, and its inevitable end as we move into the new tokenization of everything universe. And I feel like that's an appropriate, not really part 2, but story that's in conjunction to this story, that's more focused on, what's going to happen with the monetary system as we transition into the new system, the Great Reset, as they said. First time Maya told me about the Great Reset, I'm like, this is some crazy shit. What are you talking about? And then I finally started doing more research, and I was like, okay, this is actually kind of legit. Like, people know about this. I was skeptical, but now I'm like, okay, no, we need to shine a light on this and explain it to people. So awesome. Our next documentary, and on the line of financial documentaries, because the one thing I will say is that we had other people, I won't tell you what the stories are now, but they saw what we did, and on the back channel, some very in the know people, whistleblowers, came to us with stories that I could not even believe how corrupt and insane they were. And they were like, we
even
saw what
bigger than this one.
Yeah, we saw what you did there, and we respect it, and we want to do something else. And we have these other facts and receipts and other stories. So I think we're going to be very busy over the next couple of years building these kind of things. And Coach JV said something to me at the LA premiere. I'm sure, Johnny, you've heard this, but he's like, we're entering an age of authenticity. It's an age of authenticity. It's an age of us demanding transparency. The cabal, the old guard, whatever you want to call it, is kind of being squeezed out, and a lot of stuff is going to bubble up to the top. And we need to try to shine a light as fast as possible to help, drain out all of the bad actors that were in the old system. I think it's probably, not surprising to see a lot of the people that were endorsing the other side, prior to the election, might end up on certain lists, So it's just an interesting time when we look at the age of authenticity and doing that. So long-winded way to say, James, that we're going to go, Money Disrupted will be the next documentary, and hopefully we'll be able to maybe spin up a few other things. And we're working on some very exciting possibilities of how to distribute that documentary, using the blockchain, doing something totally different that nobody's ever done before.
No, I love it. Big time. And before we move forward, guys, I want to take just a couple seconds, if I can, to thank everyone who's here. The now almost 9,400 people live. Angus Scrim, thank you so much for the super chat. Also want to take a moment, if we can, to just share all these incredible people's X page. We have go to Fruition Productions. It's at Fruition_films. Make sure you guys support Chris and Maya. Appreciate you guys in a major way if you can do that. Also go over to, let's see if I can find it here. Go over and support my guy. See, where's it here? Johnny Crypto. You can find him on, it's at Johnny Crypto 00 over on his X as well. Would appreciate that. You guys can also find, let's see, Molly Elmore. It would be at Molly Elmore 22 over on X as well. Appreciate that in a major way. And then I'm going to have you guys do me a huge personal favor and support. Let's see what else we have on here. Let's see. We'll pull up. Do I have Linda P. Jones? I think I got these guys on here. Oh, Linda P. Jones right here. And it's at Linda P. Jones. Make sure you guys check her out. She's got one of the best sellers, 3 Steps to Quantum Wealth, guys. She's a phenomenal wealth coach, one of my favorite people in crypto. And also, let's see here, guys. If you guys don't mind being with me here for a second, go over to Echo, and it's at Echo the Truth on X. Phenomenal guy, somebody I've grown fond of. Brilliant mind, definitely got a lot of love for Echo. And the man, the myth, the legend himself, my brother, at Zach Rector 7. Now, with that being said, guys, I want to have a little bit of fun here. Let's get into
like Aquaman.
What about yours?
Wait, my brother. I know I pulled up Aquaman. I think what happened is the screen kind of went down here. Aquaman, where's he at here? I got him on here.
He paid the fee.
He paid the doggone fee. Where's it at? Let me get him on here real quick. My apologies.
You need hey, James, on a shameless plug on Aquaman's behalf. Privately, Aquaman is one of the strongest testimonials, like real life stories of anybody I've ever met. Like very emotional story about his family and what his mission in his life. I think a lot of folks maybe know him about his crypto stuff. I don't know Aquaman, like how much you get to talk about the other, like the what I feel is like even your greater calling, but I hope that you can go on here sometime to talk about that.
Yeah, it's funny because I definitely I'm gonna have him on the show. I think I've been meaning to try to get him on a one-on-one, but it's at Mr. Aquaman 33, and it's funny because I've never told Aquaman this, but I remember the very first time I watched you guys put up a like a snippet of the documentary, and I saw Aquaman. I said, "Damn it! I sure would like to be in that thing too." I mean, he really inspired me, and so just knowing that you were that early into the game, man, that's absolutely insane. But so what I want to do now, guys, if you guys don't mind, you know, I was doing one of my shows, which is actually, I guess I support everyone else. I can support myself here, right? You guys get a chance, go over to our Crypto for Life YouTube page. You can also find us on X. We've got some of the most amazing interviews with all these people that are here right now. I've been around for 2 years, been in the game since 2017, but it's been phenomenal getting to know these guys, some of the biggest interviews in the space. But the other day I was on a show and one of my members said, it says, 68J, do you realize you're going to be in one of the most powerful documentaries ever created? Period. And that President Trump and many important people want to watch it. And I just, for a minute, I froze. And I don't typically freeze them. I was like, whoa. So I just want you guys to speak on that, just the importance of this and how excited you guys are to be a part of something that maybe we don't see it now, but I know when I first got into crypto, I was Googling every little crypto documentary I could find, and there was nothing on the level of what Chris and Maya have done. Just talk about that and just being a part of history, if you guys don't mind. Let's go backwards this time and start with Linda P. Jones, if you guys don't mind. Go ahead, Linda.
Well, I think this is an important part of history. This is the documentation of the truth. This is the real story of why XRP and Ripple have been held back, having superior technology, being a premier US company, just, you know, being an iteration beyond Bitcoin's technology. It explains so much. And yet here we are at this low price, you know, and having to explain all of this and start from the beginning, it helps to have the documentary tell the important story, because it really is what happened that held the price down for so long. And, you know, like I was saying before, now in hindsight, I think that's a tremendously positive thing, because I accumulated a whole lot more in those 3 years than I ever could have if it had just taken off like a rocket like I expected it to. So I'm grateful now. But on the other hand, we're still so early in this game. You know, we're still in the early innings. We don't even have legislation yet. And so this is history. The documentary did such a great job of explaining everything, telling the truth. This is going to be there for posterity to tell the real story of, you know, why the banking system was threatened by this, what happened, what specifically they did, all the different ways they tried to stop it, and how they couldn't hold it back.
Love it. Echo?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's an amazing. I'm actually just tickled by it because, you know, when you think about it, like, we are definitely going to be in the history books, right? you know, and to be part of all of this is definitely an honor. You know, again, I appreciate everyone here on the panel and, you know, Chris and Maya for even having the courage to, you know, put this type of information out there to the masses, right? Because the truth has to be out, be released and be let out. And as we go into this new environment, this new world, this new transfer of, you know, our economy and our wealth, you know, that transparency needs to be there. And, you know, to be in the forefront of everything is really remarkable to see, right? And I can't wait to see, you know, everything that's about to unfold for all of us here in the near upcoming future, because I believe it's going to be, you know, we're going to go into a life of abundance, and this is just the start of everything. And I said this, you know, on, you know, November 10th, right? I told everybody, you know, buy XRP. This is financial advice. And I'm saying it again, buy XRP. This is financial advice.
I love it.
Come at me, SEC. Come at me.
I love it. What SEC? Let me stop. Molly.
Oh, I know, right?
Go ahead, Molly. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Molly.
Is this the question about the Trump team watching this movie? And
yeah, just it being the most important documentary, and everybody of important, as far as caliber, will watch this at some point. In the fact that you're in it,
it's humbling and actually supports my theory that we're living in a simulation, and this is just a movie in itself. Because how else do you explain this kind of opportunity just coming along as the way it did? Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Aquaman.
You know, it's going to be a great story to be able to tell my grandkids. That's A. And B, like I think we forget because we're in this space every single day, you know, tapped in. But like the real picture of it all is that there's only 500 million people globally even tapped into crypto. So like, can you guys imagine? And most of those people are in other continents. They're not even here in the United States. So can you guys imagine once this shit starts, you know, going haywire and spreading like wildfire, and like people are talking about they've made millions and they're making passive income, and everyone's going to want to tap in, especially other mindsets that, you know, resonate with us, but maybe they're being distracted by, you know, the Matrix, you know, sports and Netflix and, you know, their careers. So they're being distracted by all this, but, you know, it's going to be a real good space. You know, the doc is going to be great too, to tap into as, you know, someone that wants to look at the proof of this, you know what I mean? There's a digital footprint of all the evidence. So you just have to tap in and it's there, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of unfortunate sometimes I think about what the SEC did and how it made this industry so scary for people to even look at. And so it's just going to be good to see that narrative change. Go ahead, Johnny Crypto.
You know, first of all, I'll just say, Jay, I feel so blessed to even be worthy to be part of this thing. And thank you to Echo, because he kind of brought it to the 3T community and kind of brought it, you know, mentioned them to Chris. So otherwise we wouldn't even be here. So, but it's also exciting, you know, to actually be part of a modern. I love mob movies, and we actually got to be part of a modern day mob movie. You actually got to see, you know, basically in a nutshell, JP Morgan making an offer. You put your name or your brains on the contract, right? They went to Ripple's office and they basically said, sign the deal and we'll buy you out. And Ripple said, no, screw you. We don't want you. And then what do? They went and weaponized the SEC against them.
That's crazy.
You literally got to see you see how the big boys work behind the scenes now. And so it's fascinating to be in it. But I think overall it's going to be eye-opening to people. And I think for all of us here, how cool, you know, just the fact that we're able to tell a piece of history and truth in time of something that's so, you know, I tell everybody we're so early. I know it feels late, but man, when the world figures out what's going on, it's really, really cool to know you were at the beginning of it when it all started.
Yeah, I love it. We're
about that point that Johnny just made is that we learned about that model from Gary Gensler's MIT class.
Yeah.
So how funny is it that these guys, like they don't realize that, like when you say stuff on video, that it's there forever and it can get tied back, like it was in the case of this Ripple situation.
Yeah. I think Joe Lubin learned that as well. We're going to go to Zach Rector, and I'm going to save Chris and Maya for last. Zach?
Yeah, no, it's an honor. When Echo first reached out to me too, I was like, man, what the heck is this? And then obviously it's just turned out to be one of the biggest things that I've been a part of for sure. And I'm excited because I feel like Chris and Maya, the whole team there, they did their job to put this together. And now it actually kind of comes back to us to help push this thing out. So I'm excited to get back to work. Like just having this conversation with you guys gets me excited about making follow-up content and story. And helping to get this message out, getting it into the hands of people that can actually make a change. Because I think, yeah, this has been a great documentary, but we have to see the whole thing through, and we still have to execute on that work. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country, right? And so this is a story that's been bigger than crypto, and that's what makes it so special to be a part of. It's not just about XRP number go up. It's not just about crypto. It's about a level playing field in a free market here in America. And so, absolute honor to be a part of it. And I'm interested to hear what Chris has to say too.
Yeah, before we go to Chris, I want to add this, Chris. I not only do I want you and Maya to add on to that question, but also just what Echo means to you guys, because I know when I got into this thing, Echo was somebody that I connected with right away. I didn't realize his part in this whole thing. Sometimes I don't know if people appreciate it. And I love giving people recognition. You hear all these people here saying Echo this and Echo did this and Echo did. And I know when I came in, I was inspired by Echo. I was inspired by you guys. I was inspired by Aquaman, seeing him in the film. And then for you guys to ask me, I was so humbled. And then I started referring people like Linda P. Jones and Mikko. It's just one of the things that make you feel so special that you want to share it with everyone. And I think that's the thing that I sense from Echo. You guys talk about just what this means to you, and then also what Echo means to you guys, because it just seems like this guy's done a whole lot for this film.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, either one.
Yeah. Echo. Yeah, when Chris and I first talked, and I know we say this a lot, but I really, I wanted to point out to Chris, if we're gonna do this, we need to make sure the right people are giving the message that that this comes from a place of authenticity, which is very much right in this timeline. And so when I first reached out, Echo was the first one I reached out to, Echo and then Brooke. And both of them, without question, just said, let's do it. I agree. I think this is going to be great. And I just Echo, appreciate you getting on board with this crazy idea that turned into this, right? Fruition. It came into fruition. And I guess my thing is just, to everyone out there who, just has the questions or is even kind of skeptical or hesitant, kind of holding back, not sure whether they should make the leap, whatever it is, it's worth the leap. I guess I encourage everyone to make that leap, have a little bit of that trust, that faith, because the universe, these last 11 months, I have definitely seen the universe have a divine hand in Chris and I, in our path, with the connections, with the direction of the film. And I just want to say again, thank you to you all. And Echo, thank you for helping kickstart all of this. Really appreciate everyone. You guys and Echo, you guys are our friends for life, just so you know. So
That's
thank
absolutely
you so
right.
much.
Okay.
Yeah, and before Chris answers the question, thank you so much for the 10,000, almost 200 people watching live. Go to fruitionproductions.com, get your own digital copy of this masterpiece documentary by Fruition Productions. Chris and Maya. Chris, the stage is yours, brother.
Yeah, again, it's all about meeting other high frequency people. I feel like when we were on the premiere tour, everybody we met in the XRP Army was just amazing. Didn't matter what ethnicity you were, didn't matter what socioeconomic background you came from, what education level you had. Everybody saw the same thing, which is really at the end of the day, we want a more free society. We want a more, may the best product win. That's really the entrepreneurial story of America, is like building a great product, competing with other companies, and ultimately the voices of the customer matter most, and they should vote, on with their dollars, what kind of technology they're buying, and that should win. And when a government gone wrong has gotten involved and starts picking winners and losers, I mean, this is our story of this in the crypto community, but this happened in the in the bailouts in the automotive world. Like, why did Biden never utter the word Tesla the whole freaking time he was in the office? It's insanity. And he's talking about like green energy. So it happens. It happens where these government agencies pick winners and losers based on their own financial interests, regulatory capture, regulatory advantage. That's what the documentary is about. I didn't know what those terms were a year ago, but we knew the kind of crime was taking place. And so we hope that we can shine a light on that, make it more obvious as it's seen from the crypto community. And it's pretty obvious now that Trump's in office and we're seeing the market starting to react, that we're feeling like we're going to enter an age where this is the great next .com boom, as Linda talks about in her books, and as people will remember, and any historian will look at the .com era. This is that era right now. So we really appreciate the support. You know, Maya and I are two regular people like anybody else out there watching this right now. To the 10,000 people that are watching this, like,
Thank you to the community.
Yeah, thank you to the community. Look, it's not on Netflix right now because we're not a big studio. This was made with 5 people. You know, we used our own money, our own crypto in there, and we tried the best we could to make this documentary tell the truth. And that's why it has to probably exist outside of the system, because the system didn't want this information out there, or they were like, where's your celebrity? I'm like, the celebrity's right here. It's Zach Rector, it's Linda P. Jones, it's Molly Elmore, it's Coach JV, it's the people in the community that are celebrities telling these stories, because these are our stories to tell. These are the stories that we've drawn the research from. So Thank you so much to anybody who's purchased the documentary. It means a lot to Maya and I. Show it to your friends, have little screenings in your house. Show it to your family over Thanksgiving, gift it to somebody if you have the means to do it. And to those who are, speak other languages, and we're working on other things to, help subtitles and other languages around the world.
We'll get it out there internationally. We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on that, but we really appreciate it because nobody came along and wrote us that, magical check.
That's right.
Nobody came along and said, like, here's $1 million. Thank you so much for making this. So, I get it. People don't have limited resources, and I say, why don't you just put it out for free on YouTube? Like, our goal in time is to expand the audience, but right now, we put tremendous resources into it to make sure the quality of the storytelling is really high. So right now we're just trying to put that out there, and please help support us and come to our website, fruitionproductions.com, and help purchase the film Rigged from the Start, which really is designed to help us hold our democracy accountable, hold our government accountable for the wrongs that they've done.
Yeah, Zach has the next question, so I'm gonna give it to him. But before I do, I think we should, once we get to like $25 or something like that, I'm okay with having like an XRP church moment and doing like an offering to help out get this damn thing on Netflix. Go ahead, Linda. You had something?
I think what Chris said is just so important. Maya and Chris funded this out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
Our responsibility as a community to keep them in business so that they can do more documentary films. So everyone, what you need to do is go to fruitionproductions.com/store and pay $14.99. That gets you access to watch the movie.
That's right.
And it also becomes your movie to watch anytime you want. But that is the way to support the program. That's the way to watch right now. And that's what we need to do to make sure that they are reimbursed for all of the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that they put out there, the XRP they sacrificed personally to do this. We need to support them. So $14.99 to go to fruitionproductions.com/store and buy your copy.
And you know how important what you just said is. Again, my apologies. I'm gonna give it to Zach, but the fact that you sold something to get this thing out there, that you understand the value of what this thing is going to be. I mean, you might be talking about $500,000, but think about what that's going to be 5 or 10 years from now. That's crazy. So that's the least we can do as a community. Go ahead, Zach. It's yours.
Oh wait, Jake, can I say just 1 minute? We are going to continue to have more content, more stories and everything. So we would love it also, if you are willing to see more of the content, subscribe to our channels as well, Fruition Productions channel, Fruition Films, and subscribe to us on X. That would be great, because we are definitely coming out with more stories and a lot more content. So
yeah, go buy merch, go buy whatever you can. I went and bought like 3 or 4 or 5 shirts or whatever it was, and they all shrunk. I'm gonna buy some more. Who cares? I'm gonna support the cause.
That is a note. Buy bigger. When you buy the shirts, you gotta buy them bigger than the size.
I was trying. I was trying to look buff, and I didn't equate the buffness that I wanted to look like in the amount I was eating. It just didn't work out, so it's all good. Go ahead, Zach.
That's right, Jay. I'm sure them shirts would still fit 98% of people if you handed them down.
Well, look, my wife loves me, bro, but it's not sexy when you walk in and you got like a halter top. It looks like it's like your belly button showing. It wasn't good. But go ahead.
Midriff. All right, Jay. All right, Jay.
Chris, people want to know if there's a way to donate XRP to you. Is there a way that they can donate XRP? Can we make that available?
Yes, we will make it. We will make it available. Our current infrastructure. I mean, this is the dance we're making, right? So the current infrastructure that we're using to do the video content doesn't have, crypto payments. Like, I think actually I saw a post by Vet earlier today. It's like, the payment rails for crypto is not quite there yet, but we will post something very soon. And I guess this is a good segue to announce that we are also, while we were traveling on the premiere tour, we were minting during each of the premieres specific bespoke NFTs to support the documentary. So we will have just to kind of support something in the XRPL. We'll be putting some NFTs out there, that's
we have a whole collection. Yep.
Yeah, we have a collection each premier city, and we're going to be sharing the proceeds of some of that collected NFTs when we put those out for sale with organizations like Empower Oversight. And if others have ideas what we want to do, we're going to donate some of the XRP raised from those back to other organizations, sister organizations, other ones doing work to help government transparency. So, I'm open to ideas about like where to donate that stuff to. But we'll Linda, it's a great idea, and we'll make some announcements soon about.
Drop a wallet address. Just drop us a wallet address, and we'll just donate some XRP to you.
Okay, we'll drop some.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Zach, it's on you, brother.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on how fitting it is that this documentary telling the story about XRP is completely organic and grassroots, self-funded, because that's been us from the very beginning. And I actually, I mentioned to Chris and Maya, I said, be careful, because some of those Hollywood execs might try to buy this so that they can bury this story, because their buddies are going to say, silence these guys. And
wow, that'd be crazy.
I'm glad that I'm not on the list like Chris is now probably on. He's on Vitalik's list. He's on the government list. And he needs to make documentaries. He's going to have to up his security. Are we going to go through? I feel like we have quite a few questions left.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you can go through and just kind of pick the ones like Gary's resignation, stuff like. Just pick what you want to, and I'll pick a couple. We can get out of here. We're about a minute and 37 and 37 minutes in, but we've got 10,500 people that are intrigued and engaged. And you know what? If you got somewhere else to be, God bless you. But this is important. It's very rare that we get this star-studded lineup. So go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I guess because I wanted to ask that question, kind of, your expectations for, kind of what's coming around the corner with this next administration. So Gary's out. And so this is that momentum that's building. So I wanted to go through the panel and just get kind of the general predictions, not price predictions, but just general predictions on how this crypto market's going to behave just over the course of the next 12 months. Let's start with you, Johnny.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, that's a great question. I am so bullish for the next, actually 4 years, but particularly the next year or so. We have never had a pro crypto administration like we have now. We've never had the emphasis, because I don't think the politicians understood the country. They didn't understand that 20% of Americans, until they did their polls for the election a few months ago, right? And they were like, holy crap, we need to start to cater to this. There's a difference between catering to it and trying to lead it forward. And I believe when Trump says he wants America to be the U.S. capital of crypto innovation, he is not kidding. When you can see the 5-step plan he put in place, creating a national Bitcoin reserve, that's going to be massive alone for the country. But the fact that he's looking to put together a pro crypto administration, and today you heard some comments of some crypto czars that he's looking to create. We've never even heard. We've never had an administration that's focused on crypto, right? Now we do. And so the names like Brian Brooks and Brian Armstrong and Chris Giancarlo are being thrown out there. Those are some very powerful names that I think you get somebody like that in charge. It basically tells me that he is full bore supporting this. We are going to finally see for the first time ever. We had a lot of talk over the past 4 years of regulation, but I honestly believe in 2025, Zach, we're going to get regulation. And Molly was talking about the real price comes later, and she talked about adoption, the crypto adoption. She's 100% right. But that adoption isn't going to happen by companies until they feel like they're not going to be chased down by the SEC. And to avoid that, you need regulation. And when that comes, oh, my friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put your seatbelts on, because that's going to open up the floodgates for institutions that now they can start putting money. Money's going to be coming. It's 1997 all over again. And we're going to see a 4-year, maybe a 4-year bull run, maybe more. Who knows? But to me, I'm super, super excited because first time ever we had this administration that's pro crypto with all the right people in the right places. It's going to be extremely exciting. Totally bullish.
I don't mean to cut it. The question is, can I purchase a few of the documentaries and send them to people as gifts? Is that a possibility, Chris? You're muted, Chris.
You are able to gift the documentary. I'm not sure that you can buy like a quantity of them all at one time, but I think you definitely can gift it and send it to somebody and have them. You're now giving them the copy. And I think it is a documentary you do want to own. You want to watch more than one time because there is a lot going on. And I think if you watch it 1 or 2 times, I'm not just saying that because we made it either. Like, it is kind of dense, and I get it. But I also think that, it really, you can just sometimes like pause things and be like, oh shit, and like read the document that I put on screen. There's a lot of really interesting moments. So you can gift it totally, and you can send it to folks to their emails, gift it to your friends, your aunts, your uncles, your whatever, or like
Christmas gift.
Yeah. No, are you guys coming out with any kind of Christmas carols like Gary is resigning, we cannot sing?
I told you we have a pretty gangster rap going out tomorrow with a music video attached.
Gary is resigning.
Start with na 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 na.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for asking about the gifting. That is something you can do. But
there's donations too.
Hey, for those who bought copies, it's not always about doing that. Sometimes it's just about, so many of us have been the crazy crypto person in our family with the flag. Like, just like have them watch your copy. That's fine. Like, you bought it, it's yours. Like, watch it. And also, some people asked us about downloads. We will turn on downloads next year. Okay. Like, I just want to get through this launch period. And, I respect that people want to show clips and stuff. Please respect that, we made this and I want you to share it in private settings, at your house with friends and family. But we don't want people to like download it and like repost on YouTube or something like that.
That's right.
That's kind of messed up. So please don't do that. That's also against the law. It's copyrighted, but don't do that. But we will. But I do respect some people are like, hey, can I archive this as my own thing on my media server? The answer is yes. And we will make that possible, probably mid next year. It's just a click of a button on my side. I was just trying to protect it during this launch cycle. That was it. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Aquaman, predictions for next year. What are you expecting?
Man, tidal waves of liquidity after regulations come. Right now, institutions are not here. And we know that the institutions are coming. I'm paying attention to what Brad Garlinghouse is saying, what Monica Long is saying. Monica Long saying things like the real USD stable coin is going to strengthen our institutional DeFi relationships. So we know that regulations are right around the corner. And I'm telling you, the floodgates are going to open. And what I sent out a tweet today. And I said, I had a thought as I was thinking about this, right? And I was like, you know what? These bear market prices that we see right now, we will never see these bear market prices again. Yes, we will see bear market prices in the future, but we will never see these bear market prices. And the reason why is because the institutions are not here just yet. And once they come, they're going to be here forever until, right? So, you know what I mean? And we know that these institutions are not coming in to just put XRP on cold storage and put it in a vault. No, they want to earn yield. That's the whole reason why they're really coming. They're going to move money and they're going to earn yield on the same movement of moving the money that they're moving around, right? So, once it clicks for you and you understand it, the beauty of it is that we get to put in our own assets too and earn yield as well. So, tap in with it. Don't sleep on decentralized finance. Educate yourself. I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole right now, decentralized finance, but everyone tapped in right now. Do yourself a favor. Start understanding decentralized finance right now, because when the bull run comes and you take profits and you're a multimillionaire or a multi-thousandaire, well, are you just going to turn it into fiat and just go, blow it all? Or are you going to look at this new financial system and look at the new ways to earn yield and get your money working for you? So that's all I got.
Yeah, that's a great point. And to that, the Crypto Freedom Alliance of Texas just won that case against the SEC a day ago or so, right, where this was about DeFi, and basically the SEC is trying to extend their jurisdiction and say anybody who participates as a liquidity provider is a dealer of digital asset securities. And so they lost that case, another massive loss for the SEC, to your point. And I think that that's a pretty good prediction that you have as far as DeFi exploding once those regulations get set. Molly, what do you got for us?
So I think another large component of this sort of crypto world are sovereign currencies that right now are debt instruments, sort of this fiat money, and the dollar/Federal Reserve note has an unsustainable amount of debt associated. So I think we're going to see crypto regulations tie into when we flip over currencies from being debt-based money to asset-based money. I also think, just like the Patriot Act, those regulations are already written. They're sitting there waiting for some coincidental event to happen that will allow these sort of global governments to look like saviors and reissue sovereign currencies that are backed by assets like gold. And I feel like it's all going to kind of come together at the same time when now everyone's money is crypto money, digital assets that run on the blockchain. Like regulations will logically ensue so that those assets, you're going to get your paycheck via crypto, then you can buy your house via it. So it's all going to kind of happen at once. And the stock markets and those capital markets will also move over at the same time. It's such a big production to move all those things to the blockchain. That's why they've had these articles and BIS papers and IMF papers for years, because to prepare those transitions takes a long time and a lot of people. And there's also a couple squeaky wheels who have kind of blabbed a little bit. So I think that regulations are ready, where they're just waiting for some kind of black swan event that I think will coincide with the switching of sovereign currencies from debt money to asset-backed money.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Echo, what do you got for us?
Man, Molly, me and you are vibing right now so hard right now. I'm not even lying to you. I'm gonna make a very bold statement, and because I covered the U.S. debt clock quite often, next year or in the very foreseeable future, we're gonna see a debt jubilee, right? We are going to see a debt jubilee, and then we're also going to get introduced to a USA Treasury dollar, and all this USA Treasury dollar is going to switch us up from a debt-based system to a credit-based system, right? Because we already have minting from real world assets onto the blockchain, and you're already seeing that being performed right now through decentralized finance, and individuals like Donald Trump and other individuals like Elon Musk are very advocate on switching up the whole entire financial system and the financial landscape, right? And in my opinion, they're really they've played a big role in the U.S. debt clock, and they've been coming out with all these little secret images for the past year, and that was what the secret images were telling us, that 2025, in 2025, the USA Treasury dollar is going to be introduced, right? And with the unsustainable debt that we have right now in the U.S. national debt, it's better time than ever. And in the whole entire mix of all of it, XRP plays a whole massive role, but in the background. And in the future, right, while we hold XRP, in the future we're going to be transacting with XRP, but we won't know that we're transacting with XRP, right? We're be transacting in sovereign currencies, right, our own currencies. So that's a bold prediction, but that's my prediction.
We like bold predictions, right? I need to be able to clip up these predictions and use it in my YouTube video tomorrow. So Linda, can you hit us with a big one?
Right. Well, we talked about legislation coming. I do believe we have stablecoin legislation and crypto legislation coming. I thought we would see stablecoin legislation this year because that's what they told us. Jeremy Allaire said that, and this would be the year that crypto became real money. And I think that we are going to have that legislation passed next year. We already have the bill in the House. It says that crypto has to be green energy. It says crypto cannot be a problem with national security, hint, hint, China. And it has to also have utility and do something. So we're right in the sweet spot of everything that crypto regulation is set up to be. Just a reminder, everything with money is always planned. It's above politics. And so this is already set, in my opinion. We also look at cycles, and we're in the 4-year cycle. That means that when we look at the past charts, and some of in our community are so good at charts, but when you look at those charts from 2017 and 2021, and you put those and you put them over each other and project that into the future, it gets us to a roughly $33 to $40 XRP. But
that's exactly what I needed, Linda.
But remember, that does not include regulation in it. So that is pure speculation in those cycles.
$100.
Yeah.
We don't have regulation in those. So regulation is going to allow the wave of big money to come in, the pensions, the institutions, the big financial institutions that have wanted to get in, all the ETF, et cetera. So we have all of that ahead of us in terms of price exploration, and we don't have those in the past cycle. So just remember that projecting the past cycles only gets us so far because it doesn't tell the whole story. So we have exciting times ahead.
Yeah, that was well said. Well
So,
said.
Linda, are you saying that we possibly could be entering into a super cycle?
If you want to call it that, how do you define a super cycle?
A super cycle is unnormal cycle. So it would last 5 years. It could last 10, 20. We've had super cycles in history where they've lasted 100 years.
I think what a lot of when I listen again very closely to what Brad Garlinghouse says, and if you do that, he talks a lot about 2030. They talk a lot about getting to the end of this decade, which would mirror the 1990 to 1999 or 2000 cycle that we had for the internet, which I think we're mirroring again. So to me, we have an important second half of this decade that's going to be completely different than the first half of the decade.
Let's all hope that's the case, because the first half of the 20s was shit.
Yeah,
okay?
big time, big time.
We don't want to do COVID again.
Do
we don't want to do any of that.
Do we have any other people that need answers? Like, I only got one more question. I'm done on my side.
No, I guess we didn't get any predictions from Chris and Maya. I'm hoping that they can
$100.
Okay, perfect.
Maya's just quick with it. Maya's like, just 100.
Throwing numbers out there. I highly recommend. Look, I think Vahill took a lot of heat for this. This is a lot of why Jimmy had like a negative net energy around him, which I find to be total BS. Jimmy was trying to, and everybody at Vahill was trying to quantify the damages that the SEC caused us. They built a set of evaluation models using logic,
Hold them accountable,
with different thought patterns. And all of a sudden now everybody wants to know what those valuation models are. They are, to Linda's point, built around 2030. They're modeled around different scenarios. Molly will probably talk to the community about the virtuous cycle and other types of, thoughts around what that means. But, do your research, obviously, do your own research, do your own accountability. But I hope that folks seek out those evaluation models. I am not aware of, and maybe there are other ones in the community, but those were a lot of thinking went into those, and modeling, and how do we value this on different scenarios. And all of them, even the lowest ones, are great outcomes for anybody who's involved in this asset. If you want to be conservative, look at the lowest one. And then, everything after that is just absolute insanity and madness and amazing. So that I think overall we're going into an amazing period of time where blockchain technology can kind of really hit the mainstream right now. I don't even think it's been mainstream, really. I mean, people know about Bitcoin, but like its utility is what drives it, right? And we know that the XRPL ecosystem, XRP is a token, and there are many other tokens out there that have real utility. And now we're going to be able to have an administration that's not freaking sitting on, what is otherwise that money is going to go elsewhere. It's going to go to Dubai. It's going to go to Singapore. It's going to go to China. It's going to go wherever it can, and it'll still evolve. So we want it to be hopefully an American story to bring prosperity, jobs, and technology to our country here in the U.S. so that we can, innovate and be the next Silicon Valley, but for blockchain technology. And why wouldn't we want to do that in the financial sectors? We have the biggest financial sector in the world. So why would we not want that? So I'm very bullish about everything because of the catalysts. And I think that the folks at Vahill have done, a good job of creating some logic, the best logic I've seen in terms of evaluation models, and people should seek that information out. And hopefully on your show later or other shows, that they talk about those things out in public and read them. I've read them. I think they're fascinating, and I'm excited by what I see in there.
Yeah,
So
if you don't
next
mind.
Tuesday, yeah, can we let everybody know about this? Jay?
Yeah, I was gonna, we must be here, Molly, because I was gonna say, Molly, can you please give everybody the now almost 12,000 people, 11,000 something people that are watching live and growing. What's going to be covered with you and Jimmy, Dave, and the many others? I think you guys have got somebody coming from Africa or something like that. Can you talk about next Tuesday on my show, Crypto Fly?
Right. So next Tuesday at noon Eastern, we're going to get the valuation committee back together for our first reunion in over a year. And so there were 6 different models built by 6 different sort of teams. 2 of them were Val Hill sponsored. So they're not all Val Hill created, though. And we wanted that by design. We wanted people who had very different backgrounds. One man is an accountant from India. We have an evolutionary biologist from South Africa. We have Dave XRP Lyon. And so there were 6 of them built, and we're going to kind of present them briefly next Tuesday on Jay's show to kind of walk people through, like, what was the differences between them? What was the sort of takeaways from each of them? They're not predictions. These were simulations that were created to assess the damages actually of the SEC lawsuit. And, you know, we don't know which of these scenarios would have played out if the government hadn't interfered. So next Tuesday at noon Eastern, you can kind of learn more about those models and what each of them sort of signify.
And let me say, yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Yeah.
Brad Goinghouse pointed this out, specifically mentioning that since Trump got elected, we've had an $800 billion unlock, and that's probably updated to nearly $1 trillion by now. Mm-hmm. So not only was it the 15 billion wiped out in market cap right as the lawsuit dropped, that's the overall space has grown by 800 billion plus. But part of that is the unlock for XRP2. Now that Gary Gensler's resigned, we're getting an even further unlock. And so we are quantifying it in real time, but I'm really glad to hear that you're going to be having them back, because it's an important conversation to have and an important defense that was put together for the XRP army. And you guys are so right about the negative misconceptions around the work that they were doing. And I did everything that I could to help get the truth out about what their work. And I thought that they've done an incredible service to the community.
Well, let me first just say how honored I was that I got that text from Molly saying, Jay, you know, we selected you to do this, and then to have Jimmy in LA just, you know, again say how much you appreciate coming on, and I just really felt honored and humbled. And it's almost like the Noah's Ark, you know, type analogy where, you know, you thought he was crazy until the water started coming down. And you know, I look at it with the same analogy when it comes to, you know, the evaluation. You think they were crazy until all of a sudden things start changing and everything's lining up just perfectly. So I'm excited about next Tuesday. I think it's going to be crazy. And I definitely would tell everybody to be there. Now, my last question, and Zach, if you have one as well, that'd be fine. But my last question is, you know, 30 days ago, we were all sitting here panicking over one part was with the SEC appeal, and then they did, and it was like, okay, God dang it, we got to go through this crap until 2006, and now everything's changed so fast in 30 days. Just if you guys can just touch on your personal thoughts. You know, obviously this thing does not go until 2026 is my opinion. Obviously this thing changes. Gary is gone. You know, what is a time frame that you guys can see maybe even the pill getting dropped? Could Trump do that? Could the new person, do we have to wait for the new SEC? Just if you don't mind, if everyone can just kind of give their opinion on that. So people, I know there's some people here that probably is wondering that right now. I'll start with Zach. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I just listened to guys like John Reed Stark. These are guys that are not even fans of crypto, but they're acknowledging that the American people have won and they know how the SEC works. And he basically said they're just going to review every single case, settle up and get what they can before they get reined back in. And so my prediction is a settlement. Ripple has massive leverage, and I almost wish that Ripple would, you know, follow through with their appeal and just give the SEC hell just because they can.
Right. And
because it's right. But I predict a settlement, and I think it's going to be way less than that 125 million.
I think so too. Yeah, brilliant. We'll go ahead and jump to Linda.
It's hard to say. I'm not sure I can add a whole lot of value to this because it's just pure speculation. But my sense is kind of what Zach said, that I think there will be a lower settlement. It's just not going to hold Ripple back. You know, I think they got the clarity of XRP not being a security. That's what they needed. And I think for any company that is wanting to move forward, as soon as we have regulation, they're going to be able to move forward. and it's not going to hinder them. So this is about it.
Aquaman.
Yeah, I would just say we know where we're going now. Times are turbulent now. And, if we get a pullback, so be it. You know what I mean? That's going to be a lovely discount. I don't know. My mindset, in crypto now, like I'm not all stressed out when my portfolio is completely red. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at new opportunities to DCA into, whoever is the lowest digital asset at that moment. Right. So right. I'm ready for whatever. And I just, I think, but I think there's going to be some turbulent waves coming that, like, I don't know. I don't think any of us are going to really be able to predict it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Johnny?
Yeah, I don't think that, we'll definitely get a new pro crypto chair. I don't think they'll drop the case in the XRP perspective. That was the premise of the question. I think what will happen is some of what Zach and Linda were saying is, if you think about it, if you're Ripple, you want this thing to go away as quickly as possible. You don't want it to linger around 2 more years. You're trying to work, you're trying to get adoption, you're trying to talk to U.S. companies. And if the monkey's still on their back, they're gonna be shying away, right? So if you're Ripple, you're probably gonna. Don't be surprised. Don't forget, Ripple went there 5 times to try to work with the SEC, and wow, they got slapped with a lawsuit. It said the minute Brad sees a pro administration in there in the SEC, I'm sure he'll be knocking on the door, going and saying, "Here's the check. Let's end this thing." I think that's what's going to happen. My money would be on a very, very fast, quick settlement.
Yeah. I can't see if you want to clean house and get everything moving in the right direction, how you can allow that dark cloud to stay over America, knowing that it's all tied into corruption, especially when you got rigged from the start, proving a lot of that. Molly?
Which question was this?
Do you think this thing can end sooner than later? Do we have to wait for a new chair? Your thoughts on, just where this thing can go in the short term?
To me, that Ripple case is kind of over. Like the terms of the settlement, I don't even know why there should be a settlement anyway. Like, is the government a profit center? Like, where's this money going to go? So I think that's kind of shady to start with. To me, as other people have said, Ripple got what they really needed, which is the security lack of, not a security classification. And I don't think they should have to pay anything. Like there was no crime, and they were. And as Jimmy has said publicly many times, that the sale of a security, even if it were one, to institutions is called private placement. Like, it's allowed under the law. Like, they didn't even need to, they could have filed this form, and historically that could be done retroactively. It wasn't really a big deal. So the fact that they would be paying like $100 million for what's called a foot fault is silly. So I hope there is a $0 fine, because I don't think that there should be one. The government is not a profit center, and Ripple shouldn't have to pay them any money.
I agree with you. It doesn't make sense, especially if the powers that be, as we've all been told, have seen this documentary rigged from the start, and they know the corruption. And then to say you still owe money, I mean, it's just, what is that? What does that say? So
that's how the mob acts. Like, it's going to be proof that, yes, it is the mob, and you have to pay your kickback to the don of the mob.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people's feelings got hurt. A lot of people's feelings got hurt. Go ahead, Chris.
What was the question, Jay?
Do you feel that this thing can end sooner than later, or are we gonna have to drag this thing all the way out to 2026? Do you feel like, being that everything's kind of going our way, we can see into this thing sooner than later?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they would waste American tax dollars continuing to drag this out. XRP was already a digital currency in 2015. The whole thing, I think, from that point forward is all BS, pretty much, compared to the evidence that I had seen. And so with a new administration coming in, they have the $125 million in escrow. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was there. And so they could just collect that payment and say, okay, settlement done. Or, to Molly's point, why even bother, attacking American companies that are trying to build, as Zach says, a legitimate utility. And they're trying to build out a tool set for the new, financial bridges all over the world. So, and I don't obviously have any information, but I would obviously love for this to just be over. Let's move on. And more importantly, close that case, close all the other cases. The SEC should be focused on, truly protecting, consumers. Like, let's go get the next Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTX and the Ponzi schemes, and not be attacking legitimate companies trying to do legitimate things that are filing all their paperwork the right way. They wouldn't have spent $200 million fighting the SEC if they didn't think that, you know, they had the right stuff already done.
Yeah.
And then more importantly, after we move the overreach of regulation of agency, it's really about agency overreach, move them out of the way. Let's get legislation. To Linda's point, where's the stablecoin legislation? And if you want to go more extreme, like let's fix the Federal Reserve or get rid of the damn thing and go back to a constitutional treasury with assets. Like those are the bigger fish to fry. That's actually far more quantum than any of this. Is like resetting the Federal Reserve is a much bigger story. I think these little agency quarrels, we'll get rid of those. We'll get some legislation in there. And I think crypto holders had their voice heard in this election. It's part of the reason why it went the way it went, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love it. Maya, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they will continue to, do all this BS and, slow down things, but I feel like that would not be beneficial. And I don't think they can. I mean, they've lost the game. I think now is the time to move on. And I know with this new administration and Trump, he's gonna, get rid of the Federal Reserve. He's gonna restructure the SEC and IRS and all of that, or get rid of even the IRS. So I'm ready. I guess I'm ready for a level playing field, and I see, yeah, if it even settles, I see settlement very quickly, like Johnny said.
Yeah.
And I don't think, yeah, we're just gonna move forward. 2025 is our year. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. So, final thoughts. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. 11,656 people watching live. We appreciate you guys in a major way. I want everybody to just kind of say your final thoughts, where people can find you. If you got a book like Linda, whatever it is, just tell people final thoughts and where can they find you. And I appreciate you guys for being here. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, ZachRecker.com is where I'm at. I just did want to give a quick XRP pump alert. I saw someone commented. XRP did just pass above $1.51. Maybe we're ready to make our next leg up. I think maybe Chris just needs to keep on doing the shows. We need to keep on doing
let's keep pumping.
There's something going on here. I don't know what it is.
A spiritual connection to the documentary. The more people that see it, there's like some kind of weird voodoo going on, and like so, yeah.
Chris might have to go fire up another live show himself after this one. He can keep it rolling. It was a pleasure to have this conversation with everybody tonight, and just an honor to be a part of this film. And I'm excited to continue the work of getting this message out.
Awesome. We'll go to Johnny Crypto.
Yeah, ditto, same thing. It's just an honor to be part of this whole thing. To Chris and Maya, thank you guys so much for having us be part of it. And you were absolutely professionals, wonderful. It's great to work with you guys. Chris, you're awesome. I can't, hopefully there'll be a part 2 of something that we can all be part of, because I just love working with you, man. You're such a good guy. And Maya, your support has been tremendous. But overall, this to me, I'm very, really excited about it. You can follow it, check out the Good Morning Crypto Show every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can find myself, Abs, and the whole crew there as we try, and all you guys. All right, we love having you guys. I think each one of you have been a guest on our show, so we love having you guys on there. You can also follow me on Twitter. And by the way, everything's pumping, guys. Make sure you have an exit plan. Go to merlincrypto.com. Bring all your coins in one place and be able to track everything and have an exit plan so you can put some of that money in the bank, or I should say, and then you go to Aquaman and you turn it into DeFi. That's how you do it.
There you go. Let's go. Aquaman, you're up, brother.
Shout out to everybody here. Shout out Chris and Maya. Absolute pleasure again to be here with you guys. Tap in with me. My handle again is Aquaman or Mr. Aquaman 33. I'm full time in this. I've been a business owner. I have a brick and mortar business that I own outside of crypto. And I used to be in the cannabis industry, but now, I'm full time crypto. I've created a business. I partnered up with CypherX. I'm pretty sure you guys are all familiar with CypherX. And we created the Wealth 28 Club, where you can learn how to get your digital assets working for you and not just sitting in cold storage. So tap in with us. I also wrote a crypto manual on, really how to navigate the crypto waters, because I was extremely confused when I came in. So I wrote a 16 chapter ebook. Tap in with me. I put all my gems in there. But again, thank you. Shout out to everybody here for having me, and much love to everybody.
I love it. Molly.
Molly Elmore 22 on Twitter. And again, thank you to Chris and Maya for inviting me to be a part of this project. It's been fun. It's been mind-blowingly exciting, and it's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. So thank you very much for that. And then, as I mentioned with Jay, next Tuesday, we're going to do another show. We're going to break down the detailed evaluation models. So there's a little bit new context on those and why we did them, considering this movie and the fact that they were created to potentially be a data source for damages. So check us out noon Eastern next Tuesday.
Love it. Linda.
Thank you, 68J, for having us on the show today, and love to the XRP community. You guys are awesome. We've had to deal with difficult things that Chris and Maya did an amazing job documenting our struggle, our unfair treatment, and Molly and Jimmy did great valuations showing what the damages are. So maybe someday we'll see something about that. But kudos to them. Everybody support fruitionproductions.com/shop. $14.99 gets your copy. We need to keep these strong producers in business so they can produce more documentaries and keep them going. So please support them. I have a podcast. I'm an author and entrepreneur for 10 years. You can find information about my podcast, Be Wealthy and Smart, on iTunes or on my website at lindapjones.com. I wrote 2 books. The second book was a crypto book about why this is the best investment opportunity of our lifetimes, mirroring very much the internet opportunity of the 90s. I think this is the strongest wealth building opportunity we're ever going to see, and I documented that in my book. So if you're interested in learning more about that, check out 3 Steps to Quantum Wealth, The Wealth Heiress's Guide to Financial Freedom by Investing in Cryptocurrencies, and that's on Amazon or on my website.
Linda P. Jones, we appreciate you very much for being here. Chris and Maya.
Yeah, just want to say thank you to the community and thank you to you guys as well. We couldn't have, we could not have made this film without you guys. And like I always say, you guys helped the impossible become possible. So I guess my best advice is just, dream big and take life, take action and live your best self, live your best life. So thank you again to the community for helping us achieve our dreams. So appreciate all of you.
I love it. I love it. Chris?
Yeah, again, I'm incredibly honored to have everybody that's been in the documentary lend their voices, lend their expertise. We are 2 regular people like anybody watching this. We are XRP holders. We've been XRP holders for many years, crypto before that. And in the last bull cycle, we were fortunate enough to play our cards right so that it gave us the resources to be able to finance this documentary. And we are incredibly grateful to carry that flag and try to highlight all of the things that we have experienced as a community. And whether you're new to this and you're just finding crypto, or you've been holding XRP this whole time, or you're holding Bitcoin, frankly, it doesn't matter. This is a story of government overreach, and we need to hold our democracy accountable. I'm moved by the fact that this is decentralized democracy. People from all around the country, all walks of life, all manner of beings are feeling the clouds are clearing. We are moving forward in a new stage of innovation. So please, if you can, share the story. And if it's not too hard on you to purchase our film, please do that. The film Rigged from the Start, aka XRP Unleashed, is available on our website, as Linda mentioned, fruitionproductions.com. That is your digital copy. And if you have one already, show your friends, show your family. And if it isn't too hard for you, share it, gift it to other folks. We really appreciate that because, as Linda said, it's amazing once you start putting a spotlight on some of these things, because a lot of other stories come forward, and there are many stories for us. We are just getting started. This is our first film ever, and there are a million things that we'll do differently the next time around to make it stronger, to make it even better. And the Federal Reserve's a story we're going to take on with Money Disrupted, something we'll do next year. But we have other stories that we're working on as well. So we're very grateful and thankful, Jay, for you to put this together.
Thank you, Jay.
And thanks so much for everybody watching right now. And just keep help spreading the word. You can hopefully have a more positive conversation around Thanksgiving. I know that there's half the country that maybe is a little bit sour about the election, and the other half of us a little excited. I'm very sensitive to that. This documentary doesn't really have a political standpoint, really, other than there's bad government operatives, and we need to hold them accountable. And there's a new dawning time ahead of us. So please share that out, and hopefully let's have a very exciting bull run to the end of the year, because we love seeing it pump up like this, because we've been through so much.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And guys, we definitely thank all you guys for being here. 12,000 people live still and growing. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold up. We got a pump. It's $1.54.5. We
Woo!
can't
Yeah.
end the stream while we're pumping.
Wow. Unbelievable.
We gotta go.
Unbelievable.
Okay,
Guys,
Keep talking, guys. Let's keep this
go.
going. Let's keep this going.
Guys, I'm so
We're
excited.
on. We'll go all night.
Hey guys,
Exactly.
hey, I love it. I love it. And by the way, guys, you guys can catch me at James_68J. You can also catch us at Crypto for Life with 68J. We go live 7 days a week, pretty much 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My background is being an ex-professional basketball player, business owner for 25 years. I needed crypto because working part-time as a stripper wasn't working for me. So anyway, I'm joking, guys. If you guys want to check out our channel, we have a lot of fun, great content.
Okay.
People just on the show. We like to have a lot of fun. We appreciate you guys in a major way. Much love to all that are watching. Much love to this star-studded panel. Thank you so much, Chris and Maya, for all you guys continue to do. Rick from the start.
Thank
Love
you.
you guys so much. Appreciate you guys in a major way. God bless each and every one of you guys. Have a phenomenal weekend. Until next time, it's your boy James, aka 68J. Peace.
Thanks so much,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone.
Bye. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Great job, guys. We are